again. Call us at 888-PLAN-RICK or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
Tonight, Michael Brown joins me here.
The former FEMA director.
Talk show host Michael Brown.
Brownie. Now.
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
It's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
No, and I don't know what to do. No, I don't know how to push the button. Let's get right to it because it's the apocalypse. There's a polar vortex. I'd like to know someone who's really good at researching the etymology of words to find out when the phrase polar vortex first entered our vernacular, because now it's used to describe, well, the end of civilization. When you think about the human species versus, well, all the other species, I said species, not feces, but species versus species, it's pretty much all the same. Humans are feces and species are species, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. The governor of Illinois has decided that it is time to declare an emergency. And in fact, my guess is the next thing he'll do after having declared an emergency is he will go to FEMA or go to the White House and ask for a presidentially declared disaster because it's cold in the wintertime. It's wintertime. It's cold. Well, at least in Chicago. Or, I don't know, Minneapolis and, I don't know, maybe Cedar Rapids or some other. It's cold because it's wintertime. Oh, Angie, I need a little computer hot. How are those instructions?
What instructions?
Those instructions I read today about... Yeah, how were those instructions working out?
I don't want to hear it.
Just...
Get in, the YouTube's up.
Oh, the YouTubes? Are the YouTubes up?
Yeah, it's up. I just got to...
Okay, so anyway, I'm listening to the news, which always puts me in a really foul mood. And all I hear about is, you hear about two things. If I hear, and I'm really sorry for the cops in Houston that were shot. I understand that they're going to survive. It's all over the news. It's incessantly on every newscast I hear on television and radio. You know, we had 2 cops shot in Denver. Silence. Silence. I don't know, maybe cops in Houston are more important than cops in Denver. I don't know. But it's either the cops in Houston that were shot or it's the polar vortex. And the governor of Illinois decides that it's time to declare an emergency.
We're facing potentially historic weather.
Potentially historic weather. Now, I want you to think about that because I'm sitting here with an article from the Chicago Tribune. Polar bears at the zoo will love the Arctic weather, but other Chicago animals could face a fight for survival. I don't know whether the other Chicago animals they're referring to are the thugs on the south side of Chicago that are always shooting each other or shooting innocent people. I don't know whether they're talking about, oh, no, it says feral cats, but I don't know, feral cats, thugs, I mean, who knows? Back to the governor.
We're facing potentially
Okay. And
the cold weather heading our way Tuesday night into Thursday morning may bring us to temperature lows that we have never seen before.
Wait a minute. Who's never seen before? I was fascinated because, we have more from the governor in just a second, but I was fascinated because the CBS Evening News with Jeff Glor this evening, before I came into El Studio, that was their lead story. They had pushed the cops in Houston down to number 2, and now the polar vortex have moved up to number 1. You got to keep track of this stuff so you know what's important. And so now the CBS Evening News talks to a cab driver. Now, I know compared to me, he's probably a youngster, but realistically looking at this cab driver, I thought to myself, you might be 30 years old. maybe 30, maybe 32. You're certainly more than 25, but you're under 35. So you're somewhere between 25 and 35 years old. So let's put him that he was born sometime during the Reagan era. And he says, yeah, man, I've never seen it this cold before in my life. Well, maybe that's because you're only 30-some freaking years old.
With wind chill, we could be looking at minus 25 degrees in parts of southern Illinois, minus 25 to minus 50 degrees in central Illinois, minus 45 degrees in Chicago, and as low as minus 55 degrees in northern Illinois. This storm poses a serious threat.
To whom? The polar bears at the zoo love it. Well, according to the Chicago Tribune, the brutal cold expected to descend upon Chicago this week could be deadly for many animals that live outdoors. But experts say that it's likely that the populations of everything from feral cats to stink bugs will escape lasting damage. Oh, so the feral cats are likely to survive. Stink bugs are likely to survive. But oh my God, for humans who have opposable thumbs, humans who are able to actually get in and out of the cold may not survive. Well, Michael, don't you know that there are homeless people? Yeah, and they've got people driving around looking for homeless to round them up and to put them in shelters or to put them in warming places so that they won't be out in the cold all night. And quite frankly, let's distinguish between wind chill, minus 55 degree wind chill, versus the actual outside air temperature itself. Many homeless people, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for it, I'm not saying life is easy for them, but homeless people have an uncanny ability to survive. Now, I know that we may wake up tomorrow or the next day and we'll hear that some poor homeless guy, probably a meth head, died on the streets of Chicago. And then somebody will send me a nasty gram saying, see, I told you so. Somebody was going to die.
To the well-being of people all across our state. And for those reasons, I am issuing a disaster proclamation this morning so that the state of Illinois can use every tool at our disposal to provide relief to our residents and to keep them safe.
Isn't it nice to know that but for the state of Illinois, people wouldn't be able to survive the cold? But for government, we wouldn't be able to survive the cold. Back to the Chicago Tribune. When they say that stray cats and stink bugs will escape lasting damage, the story goes on to say that's because animals have strategies to endure all manner of harsh weather, even cold that might break Chicago's record low of 27 degrees below zero. They bore into trees, burrow beneath the frost line, or they find refuge in abandoned houses. And even if they don't make it, plenty of others will, and they'll rapidly restore their numbers once the weather improves. And then Michael Jeffords, a retired entomologist with the Illinois Natural History Survey, said this: these things have been here since the glacial times. Their genetic memory is like, oh yeah, this will pass. If we had extreme cold for weeks and weeks, it might have an impact, but I think they'll be okay. Feral cats are among the critters endangered by the cold. There are an estimated 200,000 in Chicago alone that are cared for by colony caretakers trained by organizations like Paws Chicago. I know many of you will think this is cruel, but feral cats carry all sorts of disease. They're dangerous. I know if you've taken in a feral cat, then don't call me and tell me about you brought in a feral cat. Now it's the greatest pet you've ever had. My point is, feral cats truly out in the wild are dangerous. But isn't it interesting that they'll survive? And they have organizations. Paws Chicago. I have no idea what PAWS stands for, P-A-W-S. But Lori Maxwell, the director of community outreach, said cats are exceptionally resilient, finding shelter under cars or dumpsters and inside vacant buildings. And during extreme cold, they save energy by hunkering down and remaining still. Even so, people who care for strays can increase the animal's chances of survival by making sure they have food and water. Heated water bowls prevent freezing, as do bowls that are exceptionally heated. How about people in Chicago take care of other people? How about individuals? I mean, I know this is silly on my part to think that some ordinary Chicagoan, just, an individual that's just concerned that there might be a homeless individual that, Progressive Animal Welfare Society. Why, thank you, Ms. Producer. Progressive as if that's their politics? Or progressive like in the insurance company? Or
it just says Progressive Animal Welfare Society on their .org site.
Okay, all right.
That's all.
Okay, that's all. Okay. We are so everything has to be hyperbole. It goes along with the outrage culture. We have to either be outraged or we have to be scared feesless that if we don't have the government intervene, that people are going to die. People probably are going to die. There will probably be, because Chicago's what, the second, third largest city in the country? I forget which it is. It's number 2 or number 3. You got New York, Chicago, LA, and Houston. And I forget, I know New York and Houston. New York's 1, Houston's 4, so between LA and Chicago. So somewhere in the great city of Chicago, well, I use that euphemistically, the great city of Chicago, there will be some poor elderly man or woman who runs out of heating oil or something, and they'll be found frozen to death in their flat. And it will be a tragic story. And you know why it's tragic? Is because people cared more about feral cats and stink bugs than they did about their fellow citizens. And it drives me nuts. And it drives me nuts because to go to a 30-year-old cab driver and to get him to say, yeah, holy cow, I've never seen this years old. Let's come back 35 years later when you're 65 years old and the polar vortex strikes again and the temperatures are 57 degrees below zero. And then let's see what you say then. Well, yeah, I remember back in 2019, I was just this young whippersnapper of a cab driver, and suddenly I found out that, this cold snap happens like this part about stink bugs. Jeffers said while the stink bugs that emerged during mild winters could be knocked back by extreme cold, he would expect their numbers to rebound swiftly. Mosquitoes, meanwhile, protect themselves by spending the winter in urban sewers and steam tunnels. This sounds like the making of a movie, right? Feral cats, stink bugs, and mosquitoes survive the polar vortex. He noted, though, that one insect can be endangered by extraordinary long-lasting cold. 3 consecutive days with highs no higher than 20 degrees below zero will kill most overwintering gypsy moth eggs. The Chicago area came close to that in the mid-1980s. So we have seen this before. And the gypsy moth was severely impacted. A single overnight low of -21 will have little effect on them. But let's go back to this. Let me just highlight. Brookfield Zoo has other hardy species like snow leopards, bison, that will have the chance to brave the cold too, but other animals such as kangaroos and wallabies. Chicago Zoological Society. Even though these animals may have fur on them, their toes can experience frostbite. We're just not going to be taking that chance. The government's here to save you. We are so freaking dependent upon government for everything. And we are so myopic in our view of history that we think that everything that is happening right before our eyes, that nothing has ever occurred either before that or will ever occur in front of that. And look, I do believe that we should live in the moment. We should actually live in the moment. But living in the moment doesn't mean being a dumbass ignoramus of history or meteorological weather cycles or climate cycles or the fact that, just because we call it a polar vortex doesn't mean that it's just crappy cold outside. Pause. What'd you say it was? Progressive Animal Welfare
Society.
Society?
Yes.
Do they care for more than just the feral cats?
I'm sure they do. You know, we do have a listener from Chicago.
Well, ask that listener from Chicago whether or not they're a member of the Progressive Animal Welfare Society. A rude flyer has a meltdown on United. Oh, she was beautiful because she had a smartphone, she had the blonde hair, and she had the really cool glasses, and she's sitting there, and she's sitting in the middle seat. Bless her heart, she probably didn't make her reservation until the last minute, and she got stuck in the middle seat, and she does not deserve to be sitting in a middle seat. The people who made their airline reservations early and were able to grab a window and an aisle seat, I think they were a couple. In fact, I'm pretty sure, I got the story right in front of me. Oh, but I took all the pictures out. I'm pretty sure that this couple was a couple. They were either married, boyfriend, girlfriend, or something. But they were traveling together. Let me just say, by the way, she's white, they were black. Now, why is that important? Because if there ever was an example of, and I hate the term patriarchy, but if there ever was an example of white patriarchy, it was this woman, this beautiful person who's stuck between two individuals that on a good day, are still north of 300 pounds each. Now, I don't know when the last time was that you were in coach on a United Airlines flight. This flight was on a flight from Las Vegas to Newark, when she was caught on camera moaning about being stuck in the middle of two big passengers. When are people going to learn that throwing a feces fit in public just means that everybody around you, when are we going to learn that that's what happens?
Excuse me, can you find her another seat? Because I will not be verbally abused by this or anybody else.
Okay. Yes.
I will not be verbally abused by anybody.
Okay.
I'm not tolerating it.
I can't sit here because it's both so big.
She just said, I can't sit here because these two people next to me are so big. Well, la-dee-da. Maybe you should have booked your flight earlier, or maybe you should have, paid extra for an aisle seat or a window seat. In fact, you hear her ask earlier that she wants a window seat, and I'm thinking, what would be poetic justice? Is for her to get a window seat and have a 300-pound passenger in the middle seat, because now her beautiful blonde white face is going to be smashed up against the window all the way from Las Vegas to Newark.
Right, I can't even sit here.
Do you want to come up and stand and then we'll find...
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Because I can't sit like this.
I can't sit like this. I just can't sit like this. No, I can't. I can't sit like this. You've got to get me away from these lard asses. Oh, I just can't do it. If you want to, just go stand in the back, because here's what the flight attendant's thinking to herself. Because the other person, the woman who says you got to get in Boulder, you'll find Gunsport at Fort.
Only uses high-quality PEX or USA Grade L copper pipes. And for a limited time, get 20% off and 0% interest for an entire year. Repipe Specialists, the no-hassle, value-priced, all-inclusive repipe. Call today for your free in-home estimate tailored for your home at 888-503-1742. That's 888-503-1742. 888-503-1742.
Right now could be one of the best times to make money in real estate. In fact, according to Realty Track, the average profit from fixing and flipping a house is currently $58,000 nationwide. So if you're thinking, I'd love to flip 1 to 3 houses this year, then you're in luck. The National Real Estate Network is looking for motivated people to join their real estate team in the Denver area. You do not need lots of money or any house flipping experience with the National Real Estate Network. They've already taught thousands of people across the country their strategies on flipping houses in today's market. And they know that Denver is perfect for their system to flip houses now. So if you're interested in creating your own real estate business and accessing a powerful network, then call 800-264-3982 to get your free Riches in Real Estate kit. Call now and you'll get free admission to an introductory class where you'll be provided a smartwatch and the network's guide to investing, free just for attending. Call 800-264-3982. That's 800-264-3982 for your free kit today.
Hey America, the cannabis industry is on the rise. There's an easy way to learn more about the cannabis industry. Just go and visit hightimes.com. That's hightimes.com.
Attention. If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs green-lighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call the hotline number now, 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794.
If you built a van, you'd start with the people who invented the work van, Mercedes-Benz. It would be available in diesel and gas. There would be thousands of configurations to choose from, and you'd build it right here in the USA. Introducing the all-new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, built for you. The all-new Sprinter, built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Options, model availability and terms.
This is Sean Farshi with Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Find your new Sprinter at Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Mercedes-of-Littleton.com.
KOA News Radio, time 7:30. The president says if Congress does not approve funding for a border wall before February 15th, we could face another government shutdown. Senator Lindsey Graham with his prediction of where things are heading.
One or two things are going to happen. By February the 15th, we're going to have a deal that would be good for the country, including the president's priorities, but also things Democrats want. Or he will pursue building the wall on his own as commander-in-chief.
The president says he can declare a national emergency to secure funding for a border barrier. The mayor of Los Angeles, Eric Garcetti, says he's staying put and putting aside a loftier idea.
The two things I love the most, my family and my city, are right here in LA. So I've decided not to throw my hat into the ring to run for president in 2020.
No mayor has ever gone from City Hall to the White House. Next update at 8, David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Traffic around the Denver area is rapidly improving. We cleared that accident southbound I-25 at C-470. Traffic's getting back to normal there. Slight delays southbound I-25 from Park Avenue West through 20th. Other than that, I-25 is looking good. Watch eastbound I-70 at 270. There's some construction there, backups to Havana. And we're still seeing delays eastbound I-70 from Monaco to Peoria. Off freeway, the traffic lights are flashing red at Broadway and Spear, so watch for delays downtown. CBS 4 weather. Tonight, mostly clear and cold, low of 10. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high near 35, currently 26 degrees. This report is sponsored by Belco. For a limited time, Belco is offering 2.75% APY on a 17-month CD with balances of $10,000 or more. Visit belco.org/CD to learn more. Belco membership is required. Conditions and restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. Belco, banking for everyone. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
Our customers tell us that it's easy to love a Shane Company diamond because of its unmatched sparkle. Hi, I'm Tom Shane.
And I'm Ed. With over 30 years' experience as a diamond buying specialist, I can assure you that the unique way we buy diamonds at Shane Company sets us apart. My team handpicks the most beautiful diamonds in all 3 diamond capitals of the world, Antwerp, Tel Aviv, and Mumbai.
No other jeweler buys diamonds the way we do. We are Denver's direct diamond importer.
We examine each stone individually and only buy the prettiest diamonds within each grade. Our rigorous evaluation and selection process guarantees that your Shane Company diamond has maximum sparkle, whatever grade you choose.
And everyone in Denver knows a Shane Company diamond is a natural diamond. We've been importing the prettiest diamonds, all ethically sourced, for 4 generations. Now you have a friend in the diamond business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
With PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur. Doing payroll is no longer a headache for our customer, Jeff.
I've used various payroll providers in the past, and none can hold a candle to Patriot Software. Their software is ridiculously easy to use. The support staff is knowledgeable and courteous. I am very excited that Patriot Software files my tax forms for me, not just providing the forms like other payroll companies do. As a business owner, managing payroll has been a long-time headache that I no longer struggle with thanks to Patriot Software. I definitely rate your company 5 out of 5 stars.
Go to PatriotSoftware.com to get your payroll pricing for up to 100 employees. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll processing free. That's PatriotSoftware.com.
PatriotSoftware.com, accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
Back to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio and streaming live at KOANewsRadio.com.
My home is a girl with eyes like wishing wells. I'm not alone, but I'm still lonely. When I was young, always go below the midnight sun. Those days are done.
Well, once again, we're having Facebook and YouTube problems. Yet we're constantly assured that, hey, everything in the network is just fine. And then we have one night of everything working, and then the next night, everything goes to crap.
It's up.
Is it up and running again?
It's up and running. It's been up and running. It just goes in and out.
Oh, in and out.
Like a wave.
So like I say, assured that we have no network problems, and then if you didn't, well, let's go back to the woman on the United Airlines flight, because I love this story. So here's a woman who just thinks she's that, her you know what doesn't stink. I mean, I can just tell by watching this woman. And the woman who is videotaping her with her smartphone turns out to be Norma Rogers. She's from New Jersey, describes herself as a, quote, nursing leader, advocating for nurses and the nursing profession, healthcare advocate on her Facebook page. So Rogers, who is the woman who calls the white woman a witch with a B, Angie, you got to find out whether or not I can say the word B on air or not. Because it's integral to the story. Because she actually calls her a BS.
It's okay.
Oh, it is okay? How do you know that? See, now I don't trust you.
Because
I don't trust you.
I have a friendly text message from our
resident profanity expert named named Dragon.
Yes.
So and actually, when I think about it, if you ever really listen to Lewis and Logan, holy crap, I'm mild compared to them sometimes.
That's debatable. Sometimes you can go across the line.
Oh, seriously? I've never talked about whether or not my mother had sex with anybody other than my father.
Not in that way, but I mean, I'm sure they would love some of the stories that you do.
Yeah, but I save those for the 7:30 hour. I wait till after 7 p.m. to do those. Okay, so, anyway, she calls the woman, we'll get to it in just a second. Rogers and her partner, McKinley Frink. Isn't that a great name? McKinley Frink. Could you spell that for me, please? You're checking into the motel. Your name, sir? McKinley Frink. Could you spell that for me? Sure. F-R-I-N-K. Frink. What's wrong? You don't speak the King's English? McKinley Frink. They were booked into the window and aisle seats on the United flight when this dumbass woman sat down between them. She continues to make remarks about the man to her right, believed to be her partner, McKinley Mac Frink, who was traveling with Rogers. And she immediately starts bitching. Yeah, I guess so, because I use the term bitching all the time. So if I can say bitching, why can't I say the B word?
I don't know, you're limiting yourself.
I am. I got a real hang up about it, and I don't know why. We need to consult the profanity gods about this. Because when you think about it, bitch is just another name for a female dog.
Yep.
Right. And in this case, this woman is even worse than a female dog. In fact, I'd say this woman needs to be fixed. She needs to be fixed quickly. She starts immediately, when she sits down, she immediately starts griping about how one of them have headphones on. They're just sitting there, minding their own business. Can you imagine the audacity, the rudeness? Can you imagine the lack of self-awareness? You sit down, you're the one that ended up in the middle seat because, well, maybe you're not as big of a muckety-muck flyer as you think you are. You maybe booked your flight at the last minute because maybe you and your boyfriend, maybe the rich boyfriend that you were trying to make it with in Vegas, you two got into a little spat, so you got all huffy and decided to leave town early. And so you end up in the middle seat between these two extra large people. Now they are, to be quite honest, they are extra large. Looking at them, they look uncomfortable. They look uncomfortable stuck in these coach seats. She's on the phone. She's on the phone, the woman in the middle, the beautiful person. She's on the phone talking about, I just sat down in the middle seat. I'm between these two fat people, and it's just so uncomfortable. I can't even move. I'm just squished in here. It's just awful. It's just awful. And that's when that prompted Ms. Norma Rogers to respond with, bitch, please, okay? But she just carries on laughing on her phone about how she's stuck between these people and and at one point she even says something to the effect, well, I eat salads. Huh? What does that have to do with anything? The woman looked directly at the phone that was videoing her. Now, the video's been viewed more than 2.3 million times since it was posted a week ago, and it's got more than 12,000 comments. Can you imagine? Can you just imagine? You're sitting there all hoity-toity, all hot and bothered because you're between, first of all, I love the racial component of it. You've got this skinny white woman between two heavyset black people, and she's sitting there just bad-mouthing them like crazy. I would say she's a racist. Yes, I would. When the flight attendant asked the foul-mouthed flyer if she would like to wait in the back of the plane so that they can try to see if there's another seat available, the woman says, thank goodness, and again blasts, I eat salads. So the next time you're out in public and you see someone who might be just a little overweight, I want you to walk up to them and just get in their face and just say, I eat salads. I eat salads. And then I want you to send me a video of your fat ass on the floor as somebody knocks you down. Now, I know this is hard to hear, but I want you to listen closely. So if you're driving on the highway right now, pull over. If you're listening at home, Crank up the volume.
Excuse me. Can you find her another seat? Because I will not be verbally abused by this or anybody else.
Yes.
I will not be verbally abused by anybody. I'm not tolerating it.
I can't sit here because it's both so big on left and right. I can't even sit here. Do you want to come?
She says that as I can't sit here because they're both so big. You know, I just wish that the two of them would have just put both their arms up on the armrest and just leaned into this skinny little woman who eats salads and just squished her like a bug. That would have made a great video. Talk about 2 million views. It had 3 million views.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Because I can't sit like this. I just can't do this.
Okay, if you want to, just go stand in the back and we'll find an empty seat for you.
Thank goodness.
Now, just so you know what it says, if you'll just go stand in the back, we'll see if there's another seat available. And the woman says, thank goodness, and again blasts out and says, I eat salads. Then you hear another passenger say, you'll have to listen closely, you know, you should be ashamed of yourself, madam. What you're doing is so terrible. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I eat salad. Oh my God. You should be ashamed of yourself, madam.
She quips back as another passenger says to her, make America great again. That's a great example. And then to somebody else, she says this. Listen closely. Why don't you try and sit between those two big pigs? I'm surprised at this point there weren't fisticuffs.
Make America great again. That's an example.
Why don't you sit in between those two big pigs?
Kiss my fat okay?
That's the best line of all. So the big woman sitting in the window seat says, bitch, kiss my fat ass. Can we get a standing ovation for this woman? That made my day. I must have watched this video 20 times today because it was priceless. So then the little dumbass white woman makes her way down the aisle, sparring with all the other passengers.
Excuse me. Who do I
And now the whole
report
plane
her to?
erupts.
Why don't we talk to my officer? Can you have the person come back? I would like to report, and I would like to file a report against her. As a platinum member, I don't tolerate this from nobody. I mean, I travel every week, and this is the first time I've ever put up with this crap, and I'm not having it.
Now, it's a United Airlines flight, and she says, you know, as a platinum member, I'm not quite sure what a platinum member is on United, but be that as it may, she's not putting up with it. She's not going to put up with that verbal abuse. What does this say about us? What does this say about us in this day and age when every single one of us are walking around with a camera right here? I got mine open right now. I'm going to videotape you videotaping me. People are stupid. And I hate people. And I particularly hate stupid people. But what I do love is when an entire airplane turns on you. I don't know, what do you think? Maybe 135 passengers? Probably a 757 or something. It looked like it was 3 and 3, the configuration. So maybe a 757, narrow aisle, narrow body plane. We have, as a society, and I get that air travel sucks. Air travel is, well, today's air travel, there's a part of me that, well, I've actually been doing this. Rather than subjecting my poor 87-year-old mother to airlines anymore, it's just easier for me by the time I think about driving out to Denver International Airport. There's an hour right there, getting parked, going inside, finding a United gate agent that I might know that will give me a gate pass so I can go meet my mother. So I've got to be there in time before the flight arrives to meet her, and then get a wheelchair, and then take her through the airport, and then wait for the luggage, and then get back into the car, and then drive all the hour back to the house. I might as well just enjoy a little road trip down to Oklahoma. It's easier than flying, and it's certainly easier than subjecting my 87-year-old mother to that. Flying is, well, I'm not going to go so far as to say that I would get on a Greyhound bus. I might get on one of those. There used to be a bus between Washington, D.C. and New York City that you could drive. You could take it one way. It left Chinatown in D.C., somewhere near Union Station, and for like $5 or $10, you could ride this bus overnight to New York City. I'd almost rather do that than I would rather fly, because flying has become intolerable. But just because flying is intolerable doesn't give any of us the latitude or the leeway or the permission to treat other people as dirt. Or to think of the gall that it takes for this woman to say to two minority people, to call them pigs, and then to holier than thou announce, I eat salads. Have you ever compared the caloric content to a salad with certain kinds of dressing on it? You might as well just have a Big Mac. You might as well just enjoy yourself and have a Big Mac or a cheeseburger, because you're getting as many calories or fat in the salad as you are in the burger. Oh. You know what? It's let's do a good news story. Let's do, I only have one taxpayer relief shot tonight, but by golly, we're going to do it right now. And it comes to us from Lithonia, Georgia. According to the Associated Press, the Popos, here's the headline, customer fatally shoots an armed robber in a Georgia dollar store. I mean, dollar stores, airlines are all pretty much the same, right? Police say a customer has fatally shot an armed man trying to rob a dollar store near Atlanta. Police in suburban DeKalb County tell news outlets the shooting happened Tuesday morning at a family dollar store near Lithonia. County Popo spokesman Sergeant J.D. Spencer says a man walked... I thought maybe for a minute it was going to be J.D. Salinger. We finally located J.D. Salinger. He's the County Popo spokesman in DeKalb County, Georgia. J.D. Salinger says a man walked into the store, pulled out... Does anybody get the J.D. Salinger reference, you think, Angie? They don't, do they?
I don't.
You don't? Okay. But you're going to look it up, aren't you?
I sure am.
You sure are. Progressive Animal Welfare Society. Pause, right? See, I learned something from Angie. I learn stuff even before the program starts. Like, shut up and get in there and leave me alone. That's what I usually learn when I come in here. County Popo spokesman J.D. Spencer says a man walked into the store, pulled out a gun, demanded cash from two employees. The Popo spokesman says a customer shot the 5 customers were inside the store at the time. Popo say charges are not expected to be brought against the customer. Authorities have not identified the customer or the man who... Let's go through the elements, shall we? So you got a thug. It doesn't say. Does it say the time? We don't have the time, but you know, my guess is you're robbing the Dollar General store. Yeah, well, it could be any time of day, I suppose. You walk in, and who robs the Dollar General store? Think about the name alone implies they got $20. They got $21 bills. It's the Dollar General store. Rob a bank. Go where the money is. Oh. So the thug walks into the store, pulls out a gun, demands cash from the 2 employees. There's a customer in the store. The customer happens to be a concealed carry permit holder. He fears for not only his life, but the lives of the 2 employees that have a gun pointed at them. He shoots and kills the robber. That is a classic taxpayer relief shot. Now, the Popo still has an investigation to do. They'll have to look at the probably malfunctioning or inoperable security cameras in the Dollar General store, but hey, they got to look anyway, got to check. They'll interview the two employees. They'll interview the shooter and any witnesses that were in the store. But other than that, there's really not much of an investigation to do. But here's what the taxpayers won't spend any money on. They won't spend any money on this dirtbag being taken to the DeKalb County Jail, where he'll be incarcerated pending trial because he probably won't be able to make bail. So he'll be sitting in there being fed and housed by the taxpayers of DeKalb County. Then because he's a dirtbag having to rob a Dollar General store, he probably can't afford a lawyer. So there'll be a court-appointed lawyer appointed to represent him. So that's going to cost the taxpayers money. That won't happen. And then we'll have the cost of, the lawyers going back and forth with the prosecutor and trying to cut a plea deal. And then because, they claim that, that my guy was innocent or whatever, that stuff going on. And then, because you have witnesses that show that the dirtbag walks in and points a gun, you got all the elements of an armed robbery. A gun, the demanding of cash, the handing over of cash, that's pretty much, an armed robbery right there. Won't have to pay for that defense. Won't have to pay for that trial. And then, more than likely, he'll be found guilty. And then he will be sent to the Atlanta penal system, where he's somebody's, exactly. And then they'll have to pay all of his medical bills. Maybe he'll decide to transgender while he's in jail. Then they'll have to take care of that too. It is a classic taxpayer relief shot. All because why? All because in this country, we recognize the God-given natural right of self-defense. And in this case, you had just an ordinary citizen, just a guy that was going into the Dollar General store because he couldn't afford to go to Walmart, or maybe there wasn't a Walmart close by. And he walks in and he sees a gun pointed at two store employees, and he has to make the instantaneous decision, am I going to run and hide, or am I going to save the lives of these two employees? And he makes the decision to save the lives of those two employees and takes out the dirtbag. Thus, a taxpayer relief shot. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always at the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Mandy Connell here. Have you heard about an Article 5 convention, also known as a convention of states? Many think it's our only chance for term limits and a balanced budget. So I've got a guest who'll explain it all. Join me tomorrow at 1 on KOA News Radio.
And they lived happily ever after. Well, not exactly.
Do I look like I need to wait for my prince?
Disenchanted, the hilarious hit musical about what happens after the fairy tale ends. Think Bridesmaids for Disney Princesses. A fun night out, side-splitting and full of showstoppers. Disenchanted, now playing at BDT Stage at Boulder's Dinner Theater. For tickets, call 303-449-6000 or log on to bdtstage.com and get ready for a wicked night out that's anything but grim.
Never saw it as a problem when I was younger. 2 cigarettes, 3 cigarettes. It wasn't a habit. My mom, she was like, you need to do something. You need to get rid of them. That was her thing. As time went on and smoking started falling out of fashion in society and rules started changing, gave the jewel a real chance and found out I liked it, found out it really works. The switch was easy. It was a no-brainer, really. But now that I look at people who smoke, I'm like, dude, really? You still doing that? There's an alternative to that, right? You don't have to do that. The person that I'd like to think that I am is because of her. Just came from her, really.
Patrick made the switch December 2016. Make the switch at JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
You didn't file your taxes last year, and the IRS didn't say anything. The fact is, you haven't filed income taxes for several years, and you figure it's too late. It'll cost too much, and there's no way you're going to figure it out. But there's still that knot in your stomach, knowing it's just not right. The bad news is, right now, you're a fugitive from the IRS. The worst news is, if they catch you, it's 1 year in jail for every year you haven't filed. I'm Jack McDonough, founder of Blackfin IRS Solutions. The good news is, the instant we file your back taxes, you go from being a fugitive to just owing money. And then Blackfin can negotiate with the IRS for you. I can help you because I've been there. The sooner you call Blackfin about filing your back taxes, the sooner you'll get a good night's sleep.
Get caught up on your unfiled income taxes. Call Blackfin IRS Solutions online at blackfinirs.com. For your free in-person consultation, call 303-904-1450, 303-904-1450, or blackfinirs.com.
Hi, this is Mike Ward from Mike Ward Alfa Romeo. Come check out the new all-wheel drive Alfa Romeo Stelvio SUV and all-wheel drive Julius sedan, perfect for Colorado. These Mike Ward Alfa Romeos are fun, fast, and stand apart from the stale competition. The Quadrifoglio SUV and sedan are some of the fastest in the world and a perfect balance of seductive styling and performance. Stop by today for amazing specials starting around $40,000 at Mike Ward Alfa Romeo at C470 in Lucet and Highlands Ranch. And just drive it.
Homeowners, there's never been a better time to permanently fix your pipe leaks or low water pressure by repiping your home today. Repipe specialists have been repiping homes for over 25 years. With 40,000 home repipes completed, they stand behind their work. They have perfected the most efficient process for customer convenience, repiping an entire home in just 1 to 2 days, patching your walls, and providing a lifetime guarantee. Repipe Specialists only uses high-quality PEX or USA Grade L copper pipes, and for a limited time, get 20 for an entire year. Repipe Specialists, the no-hassle, value-priced, all-inclusive repipe. Call today for your free in-home estimate tailored for your home at 888-503-1742. That's 888-503-1742. 888-503-1742.
KBCO HD3 Boulder. This is an iHeart radio station.
KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM. The 50,000-watt blowtorch of the Rocky Mountain West.
KOA News Radio time, 8 o'clock. Our top story, a Lodo sexual assault suspect under arrest. First, though, traffic and weather together. Here's Darren Copeland.
Highways looking good around the metro area. The only real issue we have, westbound I-70 at 270. You want to watch for construction closing down the right lane of I-70. Slight delays as you approach 270. I-25 is looking great from I-70 on down through downtown and down to the tech center. And just a reminder, C-470, there will be a ramp restrictions from E-470 to I-25. So be aware of that. It'll be closed starting now till 5:30 a.m. Watch the detour that'll be in place. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
After a cold night and a snowy day yesterday, skies are back to clear and lots of sunshine. Tonight's still a little bit chilly out there, so watch out for those icy conditions. 12 degrees tonight, clear skies. Tomorrow we warm up even more, so we get to 45, a lot more melting around here, and after that we head to the 50s with lots of sunshine. From CBS 4, I'm meteorologist Lauren Whitney on KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
25 degrees in Denver. He cruised Lodo driving an Audi and looking to pay. They left the bar. Now 50-year-old Byron Whitthorne is facing charges in the sexual assaults of 4 women. The Denver DA says Whitthorne is accused of assaulting the women after offering them a ride home. His DNA from a recent assault matched 3 other sex assault cases. Denver police say there could be even more victims and are urging any women who were assaulted to come forward. The snowstorm that sucker punched us on Monday left behind some treacherous conditions today, even for those walking.
This morning's a little bit more tough because of the ice. That's the part that's a little bit more tricky. But I found usually if you basically walk like you imagine a penguin would, you usually don't slip too much.
As we begin melting snow here, the Midwest sinks deeper into a deep freeze.
Wind chills expected to drop to 55 degrees below zero. University of Chicago, DePaul, Loyola, Notre Dame, Northern Illinois all suspending classes from Tuesday evening into Thursday. Minneapolis and Milwaukee public schools are closed Tuesday. Chicago public schools will be closed Wednesday. The sub-zero temps are expected to create travel nightmares. Hundreds of flights have modified their train schedules. Ryan Burrow, ABC News, Chicago.
Colorado car dealers have filed a lawsuit against the state's air
by adopting California standards for vehicle emissions. Tim Jackson is the president of the Colorado Automobile Dealers Association.
The California air emissions requirements would be a much tougher standard to meet in Colorado than it will be in California.
Jackson says 75% of Colorado buyers like trucks, vans, and SUVs compared to just 53% in California. He claims the California standards could raise the price of trucks, vans, and SUVs by more than $2,000. Jerry Bell, KOA News Radio.
Controversy will keep Super Bowl halftime act Maroon 5 from holding a news conference before Sunday's game. The NFL says that unlike recent years, there would be no chance for the media to ask questions of the performers this year. This year's halftime show took on political overtones because of campaigns asking the acts to back out as a sign of support for former 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick and his social justice campaign. The league says it was instead releasing a cross-platform rollout of behind-the-scene videos of performers getting ready for Sunday's show. Maroon 5, the NFL, and Interscope Records also announced they were donating $500,000 to Big Brothers Big Sisters of America. Next update at 8:30, David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Right now could be one of the best times to make money in real estate. In fact, according to Realty Track, the average profit from fixing and flipping a house is currently $58,000 nationwide. So if you're thinking, I'd love to flip 1 to 3 houses this year, then you're in luck. The National Real Estate Network is looking for motivated people to join their real estate team in the Denver area. You do not need lots of money or any house flipping experience with the National Real Estate Network. They've already taught thousands of people across the country their strategies on flipping houses in today's market. And they know that Denver is now. So if you're interested in creating your own real estate business and accessing a powerful network, then call 800-264-3982 to get your free Riches in Real Estate kit. Call now and you'll get free admission to and the network's guide to investing, free just for attending. Call 800-264-3982. That's 800-264-3982 for your free kit today.
Tonight, Michael Brown joins me here.
This is the former FEMA director.
Talk show host Michael Brown.
Brownie. Now.
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
It's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
You know, I've observed over the years how big government puts the screws to small-time entrepreneurs. I think one of the best examples are independent hairdressers. Government regulations often just crush them with unreasonable licensing requirements. Now, what exactly do bureaucrats have against hairdressers? A state representative from Washington, a guy by the name of Joe Schmick, we'll refer to him as Joe Schmuck, offers some insights. He tells the Seattle Times that my office has received many phone calls and emails about an effort, Senate Bill 5326, to eliminate booth rental agreements like those used by hairdressers and stylists who rent booths and are their own small business. Small businesses in the service industry don't have to pay a business and occupation tax if their annual revenue is less than $56,000 a year, and they pay a reduced amount if they make between $56,000 and $112,000 for small business entrepreneurs by forcing them to go to work for larger businesses that don't have the same tax incentives. Now, if you were to listen to their, well, truly Marxist rhetoric, you would think that liberals were against large businesses, which mysteriously tend to be run by people who noisily advance liberal political views. Think Nike, Apple, Procter & Gamble, Google, Starbucks. Think about any of those big companies. He continues, though, with this. But many, if not most of these entrepreneurs are women, single mothers, second income earners who need the flexibility of setting their own schedules and the ability to maximize every dollar earned that they can. But from a Democrat perspective, these women have no business working anyway. They should just, sit back and I guess just let welfare take care of them. Kind of like Indians on a reservation, maybe. Joe Schmick says, in effect, this bill seeks to balance the budget or pay for more things like the governor's billion-dollar plan to save the orcas on the backs of small business entrepreneurs making less than $56,000 a year. Now, the governor he refers to, of course, is Jay Inslee, who is among the many unhinged lefties that are vying for the Democrat president of the nation. When you think about all the people running for the Democrat nomination so far, they're all Marxists. They're all socialists. But let's go back to the whole idea about how the government bureaucracy stifles small business. Because I think, and look, we have a couple that are friends of ours. They have a daughter who's a single mom, and she's a hairdresser. And the hoops that she's had to jump through just so that she can cut and style hair is mind-bogglingly stupid to me. If America is really about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, then explain this. Tammy Nuttall Pritchard has been braiding hair with her older sister, Deborah Teen, and the sisters would stand side by side behind the chairs of scores of clients at Nuttall's in Memphis, Tennessee, a salon where people would come in to get their hair braided while chatting and gossiping with customers. Nuttall Pritchard did well. She charged around $300 a head and sometimes made more than $1,000 a week. In rough numbers, she made, assuming she took off 2 weeks of vacation, she made about $50,000 a year before taxes. It's not bad. It's not bad for a self-learned skill. She told the Daily Signal back a year ago, "It gave me joy. She told me, you learn a skill, it will bring an income for you if you do it the right way. She taught me to be the woman I am today, and she taught me that you can be your own boss." Isn't that the dream, the American dream? Everybody wants to be their own boss. Everybody wants to, what is that on? Ooh. Andy, there's a booger in here. Ugh.
Ew. Gross.
Gross is right. Onerous licensing laws governing natural hairstylists like Nuttall and Nuttall Pritchard eventually drove Nuttall out of the state that she and her family have called home their entire lives. As a result, Nuttall Pritchard, who worked years, was now out of a job. Now the 47-year-old works as a school resource officer, a typical government job, to support her 3 sons. In the meantime, Nuttall Pritchard wants to continue working in friends' salons, shampooing hair and socializing while making a little extra money on the side. But in Tennessee, she needs a license to shampoo hair. A license to shampoo hair. Nuttall learned braiding when she was a child and views it as an art form. At the time, there was no hair braiding salons, and as far as she knew, no easy way of opening one. So instead, Nuttall decided to braid hair in between her 3 to 11 shift as a nurse's assistant. Nuttall's braiding was unique, and Memphis women began recognizing her styles in the supermarket or at the gas station. Her client base began to grow. She decided to purchase a space in an old bank building on Lamar Avenue in Memphis to compensate for her growing business. There in 1995, she opened D. Nuttall Braid Academy. Nuttall continued to see success. After living on welfare and in public housing, the mother left the welfare rolls and bought a new house. That year she opened her salon. Nuttall purchased her first brand new car, a 1995 Toyota Camry. "I had to do something," she says, "to get out of public housing, and it was honest and it was fair. It bought me a new home and a new car, and it got me off welfare and out of public housing, and therefore my children had an opportunity to see life in a different way." But back in 1996, the Tennessee General Assembly, passed a law requiring natural hairstylists to attain a cosmetologist license through the state's Board of Cosmetology and Barber Examiners. She fought back, but to no avail. She ended up closing her salon because of the expensive licensing requirements. According to a study released by the Obama administration, the percentage of the workforce covered by state licensing laws grew from less than 50% in the 1950s to more than 25% just a mere 10 years ago. You know, tyranny really is imposed by increments, just one notch at a time. And one means of and stifling competition is through occupational licensing creep. And every year, the garrote around our throats draws tighter. You know, we've lost the right to make a living, but yeah, it's okay. We don't need to earn any money. Government will give us somebody else's money. It is amazing to me. It is amazing to me the people who say, but Michael, don't you understand? Why, that person might use the wrong kind of bleach or the wrong kind of shampoo or the wrong kind of conditioner, or she might braid the hair incorrectly and might cause an infection or something. Oh, we need a license. Really? Do you really believe that? Are you so afraid of somebody actually earning a living without a license that you would rather have them go out of business? Here is a woman, quintessential American dream, of self-teaching herself something, lifting herself out of public housing, off welfare, showing her two children that there is a different way of life. But oh no, you would rather impose some sort of licensing because you're scared. Everybody's scared of everything. Drives me nuts. It's just like where the governor of Illinois has declared a state emergency because of cold weather. And in his statement he said, I'm doing this in order to be able to draw upon all of the state's resources in order to protect from what? You don't seem to be willing to declare a state emergency when gangbangers and thugs continue to kill each other and innocent people and children in the South Side. In fact, you kind of ignore that. But oh my gosh, it gets cold. We got to have an emergency. Got to have the government step in and do stuff. I really am becoming more and more radical. If you've ever studied anything about East Germany or the Soviet bloc in Eastern Europe, and in fact, the less freedom and liberty that individuals have because they come to expect, and I think this is where this republic is either reaching the tipping point or has reached the tipping point. And that is, there are way too many people that look to government to keep competition away from whatever they're doing. Why do you think that businesses large and small clamor for government regulation? They clamor for government regulation because that enables them to erect barriers to entry. And the more barriers to entry that the government erects, the less opportunity there is for people like Nuttall to come up with a better mousetrap, to come up with a way of making money on her own, paid some wage by the taxpayers to try to keep her out of business. Why do you think I love companies like Uber and Lyft? Why do you think I love any company, any new technology that disrupts the old conventional systems? I readily embrace. because I love disruptors. The more powerful government becomes, it's almost like the less control they have, because you take Uber and Lyft. As they fight city councils and state governments all around the country, or are they really fighting the taxi industry? Because the taxi industry necessarily survives solely because government grants them a monopoly. And the more you grant somebody a monopoly, it's more of a chance just to keep other people from entering into whatever business that you want them to enter into. A police department dispatcher in Indiana actually got some extra credit for helping a student with a homework emergency. They got a 911 call from a kid last Friday.
911.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I had a really bad day, and, I don't know.
Because she doesn't know what she has on the other end of the line. She might have a gut feel that what she has on the other end of the line is just a kid that's had a bad day at school. But she needs to find out why. Why have you had a bad day at school?
You had a bad day at school?
Yeah, I just came to tell you that.
Yeah, what happened at school that made you have a bad day?
Now, do you think she's asking that because she's just curious? No, she's prodding. She's being very professional, very calm. She's keeping him on the line. Why did you have a bad day? What happened at school today?
I just have tons of homework.
Oh, okay. What subjects do you have homework in?
Math, and it's so hard.
Okay. So what are you learning in math? What's so difficult?
Fractions.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually bad at fractions.
You're bad at fractions?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a problem you want me to help you with?
Yeah. What's 3 by 4 plus 1 by 4?
Okay. So, do you have your paperwork in front of you, your homework?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you do 3 over 4, put that on your paper.
Okay.
And then do plus 1 over 4.
Okay.
Okay. So what's 3 plus
4?
Okay. And then what's... It would be over 4. So then 4 over 4 is what?
1.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Was that your only problem?
Yeah.
Okay. So your homework is done then?
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry for calling you, but...
No, you're...
Wants to know, what's your address? She wants to know that. She's been a dispatcher only for 3 years. Her supervisor says she's a very much dedicated employee, and it doesn't surprise us that she went above and beyond on a regular basis. Guard says they can't identify the boy because he called from a cell phone that can't be traced. The kid's got a burner phone. According to the Popo, they think they know what school he may attend, and they're trying to connect with him through the school's principal. We want to make sure that everything's good when it's appropriate and inappropriate to call 911. But they to get in trouble. On CNN Monday, however,
all Americans should have Medicare, and it's time to move on from private insurance. The California senator and some other Democratic candidates support Medicare for all. Harris was asked last night if people who like their private insurance should be able to keep it.
The idea is that everyone gets access to medical care, and you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
I know it's early, so who knows whether she'll get the nomination or not. And what is she bitching about? She is bitching about, oh my gosh, You gotta apply for insurance. You gotta wait for this. You gotta get approval. You gotta wait. You gotta blah blah blah. Has she ever pulled her head out of her butt? Has she ever read, studied, been to, know anything about? She ever been to Vancouver? She ever been to Canada at all to see what social appointment? Here she is actually bitching and moaning about, well, you got to get your insurance approval to do some sort of procedure, and that's frustrating because you got to approve something where they're trying to hold down costs and they're trying to ration health care. 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Tomorrow on Colorado's Morning News.
You're as cold as ice.
We'll go live to Atlanta to talk about the bitter temps and the Super Bowl.
Speaking of cold, we preview the snow show as it gets underway in Denver.
That is 50-degree temps are headed our way.
Join us on KOA News Radio.
I've told you a few years ago I turned down endorsing a solar company because when I looked at the financials, it just simply didn't make sense for the homeowner. I just couldn't endorse it and suggest you go use them. But that's no longer the case with Zoetic Solar. With Zoetic Solar, what they do is they replace your current electric bill as payment for your own solar panels so that your monthly out-of-pocket is the same as your electric bill, except that now you own your energy. There's no down payment needed, and once your panels are paid off, you've got free energy for your house for life. You own those solar panels as opposed to renting them, which is what everybody else does. This simultaneously gives you more money in your pocket and increases your home's value. And insulate your attic, put in a smart home thermostat, all for free, saves you even more money. And Zoetic Solar is a Colorado-owned and operated company right here in Denver. So if you're thinking about using solar on your home or your business, call these guys and just get a free quote. 888-637-4447. That's 888-637-4447.
I started my business in 1986 and began paying employees. I would handwrite checks and say, "Here you go, don't cash it until Tuesday." That came to a screeching halt when a teenage employee said his dad wanted to see his pay stub. Pay stub? We don't have pay stubs. Get back to work. He said, "Dad works for the government and state law requires I receive a pay stub." Uh-oh. Hi, I'm Mike Capel, CEO of Patriot Software. After many emergency calls, I learned how to correctly withhold payroll taxes and create pay stubs. I avoided handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit that day, barely. That's why I created Patriot Software, to help small business owners do their payroll taxes correctly with pay stubs. And if you need help, we will help you for free. Go to patriotsoftware.com and enter promo code RADIO, and I'll give you 2 months of payroll processing free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Right now could be one of the ability to track the average profit from fixing and flipping a house is currently $58,000 nationwide. So if you're thinking, I'd love to flip 1 to 3 houses this year, then you're in luck. The National Real Estate Network is looking for motivated people to join their real estate team in the Denver area. You do not need lots of money or any house flipping experience with the National Real Estate Network. They've already taught thousands of people across the country their strategies on flipping houses in today's market. And they know that Denver is perfect for their system to flip houses now. So if you're interested in creating your own real estate business and accessing a powerful network, then call 800-264-3982 to get your free Riches in Real Estate kit. Call now and you'll get free admission to an introductory class where you'll be provided a smartwatch and the network's guide to investing, free just for attending. Call 800-264 today.
You didn't file your taxes last year and the IRS didn't say anything. The fact is, you haven't filed income taxes for several years, and you figure it's too late. It'll cost too much, and there's no way you're going to figure it out. But there's still that knot in your stomach knowing it's just not right. The bad news is, right now, you're a fugitive from the IRS. The worst news is, if they catch you, it's 1 year in jail for every year you haven't filed. I'm Jack McDonough, founder of Blackfin IRS Solutions. The good news is, the instant we file your back taxes, you go from being a fugitive to just owing money. And then, Blackfin can negotiate with the IRS for you. I can help you because I've been there. The sooner you call Blackfin about filing your back taxes, the sooner you'll get a good night's sleep.
Get caught up on your unfiled income taxes. Call Blackfin IRS Solutions online at blackfinirs.com. For your free in-person consultation, call 303-904-1450, 303-904-1450, or blackfinirs.com.
KOA News Radio time 8:30. The government will cite, but there's no guarantee of safety from bad guys.
It happened in Venezuela last August, addressed a military parade in Caracas. A drone exploded over the parade formation, wounding 7 soldiers.
You can believe federal organizations are keenly looking for solutions to this problem.
Brian Fenneman is vice president of Blue Force, a drone mitigation consultant in British Columbia. He says the problem is here at the Super Bowl and at other major outdoor events.
There's no magic bullet here. That's the biggest issue.
Pete Combs, ABC News, Atlanta.
A Utah man is suing Oscar-winning actress Gwyneth Paltrow for what he calls a hit-and-run crash on the slopes. Terry Anderson claims Paltrow was out of control 3 years ago when she hit him from behind, knocking him over and landing on top of him. She then allegedly got up and skied away, leaving Sanderson injured in the snow. He's suing the actress for a little more than $3 million, claiming the collision left him with a concussion, a brain injury, and broken ribs. Next update at 9 o'clock. David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Have a new problem on the highway, I-25 southbound on the ramp to Evans. Watch for an accident being reported there. You're going to see some delays as you make your way off of I-25 onto Evans, but other than that, southbound I-25 should be fine. Other than that, also I-25 is looking great from I-70 to downtown. Slight delays westbound I-70 at 270 for construction. They've got the right lane off and on, so be aware there. Eastbound C-470 ramp to northbound I-25 will be closed due to road work tonight from 8 p.m. to 5:30. CBS 4 weather. Tonight, mostly clear and cold, low of 10. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high near 35. Currently 26 degrees. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
The Ron Burgundy podcast is coming to iHeartRadio next week, February 7th.
Cue scary music. This is our initial launch into the podcast space, and I want to welcome you to this journey we are about to take together.
We're not sure what kind of journey Ron will take you on, but we are sure it's a must-listen.
I'll never correct you on that statement.
The Ron Burgundy Podcast premieres February 7th on the iHeartRadio app. Your music, your stations, your podcast. Anytime, anywhere.
iHeartRadio. If you built a van, you'd start with the people who invented the work van, Mercedes-Benz. It would be available in diesel and gas. There would be thousands of configurations to choose from, and you'd build it right here in the USA. Introducing the all-new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, built for you. The all-new Sprinter, built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms.
This is Sean Farshi with Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Find your new Sprinter at Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Mercedes-of-Littleton.com.
McDonald's chicken isn't just any chicken. It's chicken worth crossing the road for. It's tender, it's juicy, and now it's just $2. That's right. Now you can order 6 pieces of classic chicken McNuggets made with all-white meat for just $2. And if you can't believe this amazing deal, add any size soft drink to your order for just $1 more. Yep, your meal just got even better. Thanks to McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu. Price and participation may vary. A la carte only. Cannot be combined with...
That will make her smile. Hi, I'm Tom Shane.
And I'm Christy. Every day, I help customers at our store find romantic gifts, like our new and exclusive heart-shaped necklaces, earrings, bracelets, and rings, created by our design team.
One of my favorites is our delicate heart-shaped necklace, accented with diamonds on a fine Italian chain. Choose either 14-karat white, yellow, or rose gold for $265.
Shane Company has the largest selection of gifts with red, the traditional color of Valentine's Day, like our heart pendant with red garnet for $125, or our gorgeous pendant. Give her a heart on Valentine's Day. She's already given you hers.
Now you have a friend in the jewelry business. Shane Company and ShaneCo.com.
Can't wait on hold? Text Michael at 56690. Now, back to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio.
I like to dance under street lamps and walk upon the clouds. I like to shout from the rooftops and surf on top of the crowd. For many years I was scared of the person I was. And I'm not perfect, they say, but I know that I was born to be loved. Hey, 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 well,
Let's go to the phone lines. I think Tricia wants to ask me a question about a piece of legislation. Tricia, you're on with Michael Brown. What you got?
Hi there, Michael. This is Tricia, and thanks again for taking my call. The Senate in Colorado just passed a horrific bill. It's that national popular vote bill, and now it goes next to the House. And in doing this, basically they have voted to enter a compact with other states to set aside Colorado's presidential election result in deference to the result of the national popular vote. So basically, we lose our voice is what happens. They're selling it on the basis of one, as a resident of Colorado, when they make this change, when it goes from 50 individual state elections, which is how our republic operates presently, when they turn it into a central election, a national election, popular vote, then you're 1 in 3 diluted by doing California's election. Well, in Texas, we're hearing about their election boards being kind of corrupt, or a whole bunch of different people getting licenses and then automatically being registered and so forth. All of that going on. We are insulated a little bit in that each state is in charge of its own election, but when they throw it all into a big central pot like that, then all the corruption attendant to California and anywhere else is our problem too.
Can you take a deep breath now?
Yeah. Sorry.
No. I wanted to hear everything that you said, but can I throw? Look, I'm as frustrated as anybody else about what the Colorado legislature is doing, but what they are doing is blatantly unconstitutional. You didn't once I get all the arguments against it, and I get all the arguments for the Electoral College and why we have the Electoral College, but I have yet to hear anybody point out how blatantly unconstitutional this is. And nobody wants to talk about that because it's the one thing that those who are pushing this, Emily Sirota and all the progressives in the legislature, and this, I forget who the state senator is that's pushing it, but nobody ever mentions the constitutionality. So let me let you go, and I'll explain why. Yes, I'm frustrated with the direction of the legislature, but everybody needs to take a deep breath about this. It's unconstitutional because it promotes combination among the states and deliberately sought to avoid, when they carefully detailed I'm going to use a phrase here that is a legal term of art, a constitutional term of art. When the framers deliberately sought to avoid a national popular vote with a detailed, finely wrought is the phrase that people need to remember. Electoral procedures that you will find in Article 2, Section 1. The compact, which they want Colorado to join, makes an impermissible fundamental alteration to the Electoral College, which you cannot do absent a constitutional amendment. It drives me crazy that in all of the, and again, Tricia, I'm not picking on you, I'm just using you as the jumping off point to make this point. Everybody's hair's on fire about this. And yeah, my hair's on fire because not so much that I worry about this ever actually taking effect, because I think even out every day. Article 2. Article 2, Section 1. This is constitutional language right here. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office, blah, 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 shall be appointed an elector. the electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom one at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves, and they shall make a list of all the persons voted for, and the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and the House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the vote shall then be counted. The person, listen closely, the person having the greatest number of votes and then it goes on to describe how it gets thrown to the House of Representatives that the Colorado legislature is trying to throw up would force a state's electors to disregard their state's unique interests and instead vote for whomever secures a plurality crisis in waiting from occurring. If the states ever attempt to enforce this compact, a court is required to apply the, quote, finely wrought standard from, and there's 4 or 5 different Supreme Court cases, and strike down this deal, thereby preventing the supporters of the compact from passing a de facto constitutional amendment that deprives the non-compacting states of their do it. It requires a constitutional amendment. And I don't care what these yahoos in the state legislature keep trying to ram down everybody's throat. They can't do it absent a constitutional amendment. Oh. But as long as we're on the Colorado legislature, it's the same thing with this lawsuit filed by Good for the Automobile Dealers Association for taking on a you remember how we used to bitch and moan about Barack Obama's pinning a phone? And how just through executive order, he would impose things that he was not signed, this stupid deal that says our emission standards will be the same as California's, that we're going to have X kinds of standards for automobile emissions. That is solely within the purview of the state legislature, which would then, if they did that, which would be a dumbass move on their point, but they'll probably do it anyway because they are a bunch of dumbasses. We could then go after them for abdicating their responsibility by shifting our standards to another state. You can't have another state set our standards. So let me draw the parallel to this compact. The compact is essentially saying we're going to ignore what the Constitution says, our electoral votes, to whatever California, New York, Illinois, and perhaps Texas does. The most populous, well, maybe Florida. So those 5 states, we would be abdicating to those. Let them pass it. Because I guarantee you, somebody, and if somebody does it, I'll do it. I'll raise the money. I'll get one of these national public interest law firms as a Colorado voter. I've got standing. I'll get Caldera and the Independence Institute. I'll get somebody to file a lawsuit to challenge the constitutionality of it. It's just, I don't know, it just drives me crazy. And I think, and again, Tricia, not picking on you, because all of the points that you made are valid points. Everybody makes the points that Tricia makes, but no, including Emily Sirota and these other dumbasses of the state legislature. Paul in Aurora. What you got, Paul?
Well, just closing the gap, to me, it seems screamingly obvious. You're a minister who takes the parishioners' wives to bed. You're a cop who goes out to protect both the federal and the state constitution. You can't, jail.
Penalty for failing to fulfill your oath.
When you swore falsely at a trial, you risk whatever the penalty of the trial was.
Well, you just said you swore to tell the truth in a trial, so there's a perjury statute. I'm asking you, what's the criminal statute for violating an oath of office?
I know what it is for a cop, and I think I know what it is for a teacher. It ought to be something standard and obvious for a lawmaker. And I don't just
no. Okay, so let me ask you. Let me ask you. So, I'm not sure what oath a cop takes, except to preserve, protect, and serve, or whatever.
He swears to the Constitution. He swears.
Okay, Paul, I get that. What is the criminal What is the corresponding criminal violation? So when I take an oath to testify in a trial, truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. The criminal aspect of failing to do so is called perjury. There is a corresponding criminal aspect. So you keep saying that legislators who don't supposedly uphold their oath should go to jail. And I'm asking you, on what basis is there what criminal code are you pointing to that says a legislator should go to jail because, in your opinion, they didn't uphold their oath?
And they should at least lose all their wages. You know the name Ward Churchill?
No, Paul, I'm not going to let people call in and get by with that crap.
I'm trying to.
You called and said
the name
that
Ward
people...
Churchill.
Hang on. You called and said that people should go to jail, legislators should go to jail for not upholding their oath. And I know you're mad, but instead, listen, Paul, listen to me. So instead of getting mad, I want to hear...
answer your question.
Is Paul the same guy that has done this to me before? Now, Paul, you're on hold. You called and made an assertion. Your assertion is that people who violate, that legislators who...
When Ward Churchill was sworn to be a teacher in a land-grant college, he had duty to teach American duty, right, true faith and allegiance to our flag and our country. And he took he taught armed insurrection against, we had tape of it, against our government. He should have lost all wages as far back as he swore the oath falsely and didn't fulfill it. And that
you're avoiding. So let me use your Ward Churchill example. Did Ward Churchill get charged? You think that Ward Churchill should have gone to jail?
I think that Ward Churchill should have been sued for every dollar he ever took as a teacher.
No. You see, Paul, Paul, you're acting like a liberal. You make an assertion, and then when I challenge you on that assertion, you're saying that Ward Churchill should have gone to jail. I want to know the basis, the legal basis upon which
to break their oath.
Yes, that's your remedy.
There's nothing else that can be done for being false sworn. If the state legislature's leader is interested in throwing away our protection of the...
That's right. Your remedy is a political remedy. You called in saying that they should go to jail. And I'm saying that you have no basis, that you have so far pointed out, that they should go to jail. If you don't like what they're doing, you can recall them. That's the political remedy you have.
But being false sworn on an oath doesn't mean anything.
You are conflating false oaths with perjury. Okay, if I don't do that, I'm asking you what you think I should go to jail. On what basis should I go to jail? Because there's no corresponding criminal statute that says if I don't uphold that oath according to your standards, that's a criminal act.
Never answer for what they do.
Yes, a legal remedy when none exists. You want a legal remedy. Legislators that you disagree, that you have a political difference with, you want to throw them in jail? That's what Marxists do. That's what communists do. Is that what you want to do? Paul, is that what you want to do?
They swore an oath to protect the Constitution. They're going directly against the Constitution.
So in your opinion, if they violate an oath, in your opinion, you want to throw them in jail?
This has also come up with
that's a yes or no, Paul. If they violate the oath, in your opinion, you want to throw them in jail.
Yes, and if they
that's
haven't written a law for it,
that is the most tyrannical. That is the most tyrannical thing I've ever heard anybody call in and say for what I.
For throwing away the Constitution they swore to defend? That's not a political difference. That's treason.
Now it's treason.
Yes,
it's giving
aid.
It is aiding and abetting enemies of the United States.
They are.
Who are those enemies?
Those who want to throw away our Constitution.
Holy cow. Paul, get a grip. You know what it makes me want to do, Angie? Makes me want to go to here's what, I get that people get fired up. But if you're going to call in here, you better be ready to make a logical, rational argument. I don't give two... It almost slipped. I don't give about people's emotions. You can be as fired up about whatever the stupid Democrats are doing in the legislature. In fact, I hope you are fired up. But to call in here and to say because you have a political difference with somebody, you want to throw them in jail, you might as well look in the mirror and say, I am a communist. I am a Marxist. I am a, dare I say it, I'm a Nazi. I want to take people, conservatism, that's irrational, utterly irrational. If you don't like what Jared Polis does, if you don't like what any of these Yahoo dirtbag dummies in the legislature are doing, you have political remedies. You have the ability to throw them out of office at the next election, which is sooner than you think. Or if you really want to get off your ass and not just bitch on a radio, organize a recall petition instead of wanting to throw somebody in jail for a political difference. Holy cow. I may have to hit the bar tonight, Angie. I might have to hit the Lori Lynn bar. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
It won't be long before the hits.
Hit to right field, hit well to left.
Are back.
Hit again to left field. Base hit into center field.
Rocky Spring Training Baseball.
Oh my, did that ball fly.
Coming soon on KOA News Radio.
I've bought more guns at one place than any other place in my life, and that's at Gunsport in Boulder. You'll find Gunsport at 14th and Arapahoe in Boulder. Easy drive. Go up and visit the guys and tell them Michael Brown sent you. Gunsport at 14th and Arapahoe or online, gunsport.us.
Hey America, the cannabis industry is on the rise. There's an easy way to learn more about the cannabis industry. Just go and visit hightimes.com. That's hightimes.com.
Ladies, have you been noticing symptoms like you can't lose weight, you have night sweats or hot flashes, you can't sleep, you have a low sex drive? You don't have to live this way. It's a new year, so make it a new you. I'm Susan Whitkin. Hormone Health and Weight Loss has a natural hormone therapy that can 443-4080 to schedule your free consultation or go online at hormonehealthtest.com. That's 720-443-4080. Feel better, live better. Call today.
Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, and I have a feeling that retirement is on your mind. You're day retired, and is your money sufficient so you can live in comfort and financial security for the rest of your life? You're wondering all this, but you really don't have to just wonder. You can resolve all these questions in your effort to enjoy a retirement that's everything you want it to be, and we can help. At Edelman Financial Engines, our clients are predominantly concerned about retirement, your financial security for your spouse, for your aging parents, for your children, and we can help you just like we've helped thousands of folks just like you for more than 30 years. So call us at Edelman Financial Engines at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com. And don't wonder about your retirement, because we're here to help you.
Attention. If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs green-lighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax return or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call the hotline number now, 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794.
Homeowners, there's never been a better time to permanently fix your pipe leaks or low water pressure by repiping your home today. Repipe specialists have been repiping homes for over 25 years. With 40,000 home repipes completed, they stand behind their work. They have perfected the most efficient process for customer convenience, repiping an entire home in just 1 to 2 days. Patching your walls. In time, get 20% off and 0% interest for an entire year. Repipe specialists, the no-hassle, value-priced, all-inclusive repipe. Call today for your free in-home estimate estimate tailored for your home at 888-503-1742. That's 888-503-1742. 888-503-1742.
KBCO HD3 Boulder. This is an iHeart radio station.
KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM. The 50,000-watt blowtorch of the Rocky Mountain West.
KOA News Radio time 9 o'clock. Our top story, a shuttle with no driver near the airport. First, though, traffic and weather. Darren Copeland.
Not too shabby a drive around the Denver area. We only have one accident. It's in the cleanup stages. Southbound I-25 on the ramp to Evans. Shouldn't be any delay. Other than that, I-25 looks great from downtown and the tech center in both directions. You will see some slight delays westbound I-70 at 270 due to construction. Also, eastbound C-470 on the ramp to northbound I-25 is going to be closed due to road work tonight from 8 p.m. until 5:30 a.m., so watch for the detours in place. I'm Darren Copeland on...
A snowy day yesterday. Skies are back to clear and lots of sunshine. Tonight, still a little bit chilly out there, so watch out for those icy conditions. 12 degrees tonight, clear skies. Tomorrow, we warm up even more, so we get to 45, a lot more melt. I'll just Lauren Whitney on KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
20 degrees in Denver. A driverless shuttle, now part of an RTD pilot project, serving the area next to the 61st and Pena train station near DIA.
The driverless shuttle is made by Easy Mile, which has its North American headquarters near the train station. RTD General Manager Dave Genova says this is the first time in the United States that a driverless electric vehicle has been used on a public transit route.
This pilot program will give us the means to test this technology for sustainability, accessibility, and the ability to perform in this environment.
The driverless shuttle will operate on a route called 61AV and will serve the area in and around the train station. Jerry Bell, KOA News Radio.
The owners of a used car business in Federal Heights being charged in an odometer rollback scheme. Sadek Kargar and Naeem Kargar face felony charges of theft and forgery. District Attorney Dave Young says they're accused of rolling back more than 2.5 million miles on 28 vehicles sold at their business, AFG Auto Sales. The DA says the odometers were either replaced or rolled back to show significantly reduced mileage. Inside, a not guilty plea, that is, but outside...
Lock him up! Lock him up!
Dueling chants greeting Roger Stone as the longtime associate of President Trump enters his plea to charges in the Mueller probe. As some demonstrators seemingly announcing White House candidacies weekly, News 1 is out. L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti says he won't run for president.
This was not an easy decision given the extraordinary times that we live in.
Raising money in Los Angeles and across the country for the Democratic Party. Some retailers are looking at moving from plastic packaging to refillable glass containers. Nicole Kapritz of Climate Activities, which are trying to shed the weight of plastic.
It's like there's 10 layers of plastic for every single item, and then all of that, unfortunately, just goes straight to the landfill. It's really exciting to see that there are some companies that are stepping up and stepping outside their comfort zone and saying to us, hey, we have a solution, let's
to move from single-use plastic to refillable glass and steel packaging. Next update at 9:30, David Kale, KOA News Radio 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
You didn't file your taxes last year, and the IRS didn't say anything. The fact is, you haven't filed income taxes for several years, and you figure it's too late. It'll cost too much, and there's no way you're going to figure it out. But there's still that knot in your stomach knowing it's just not right. The bad news is, right now, you're a fugitive from the IRS. The worst news is, if they catch you, it's 1 year in jail for every year you haven't filed. I'm Jack McDonough, founder of Blackfin IRS Solutions. The good news is, the instant we file your back taxes, you go from being a fugitive to just owing money. And then, Blackfin can negotiate with the IRS for you. I can help you because I've been there. The sooner you call Blackfin about filing your back taxes, the sooner you'll get a good night's sleep.
Get caught up on your unfiled income taxes. Call Blackfin IRS Solutions online at blackfinirs.com. For your free in-person consultation, call 303-904-1450, 303-904-1450, or blackfinirs.com.
Tonight, Michael Brown joins me here.
This is the former FEMA director.
Talk show host Michael Brown.
Brownie. Now.
Brownie, you're doing good.
It's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
in debating whether or not to go back to this stupid compact issue. I get that. In case you're just now tuning in, this started with a phone call from Trish at about 8:35 about what the Colorado legislature is doing. They're passing legislation that would put us in this national popular vote compact. And everybody's all distraught over it. And I get the distraughtness because it is an attempt, this compact, which has been going on for years, just new to us in Colorado. But News Bulletin, this is something that's been going on for years, where Democrats, liberals, quite frankly, in my opinion, Marxists, are trying to destroy them. And they're doing so by trying to create a system, this national compact, where every state's electoral vote, popular vote. There's a bunch of other nuances in it, but generally it's a backdoor attempt at a national popular election. It's unconstitutional, whether it's achieved through state statute or even congressional approval. It's alters provisions of the Constitution that detail the finely wrought procedures. A term of art is defined in a case called Immigration Naturalization Services versus Chadha of the Electoral College. This does not mean that the compact's ultimate goal is unachievable, but what it does mean is that, like other important changes to the electoral process, like amendment process. Now, supporters of this compact, who in theory 11 states, far fewer than the 38 required by Article 5, they're hoping to usurp the constitutionally required electoral procedures by keeping the Electoral College in place, while in reality creating a de facto direct popular election of the president. They simply cannot do that. Particularly in the makeup of the Supreme Court right now. Now, the people in Article 2, unconstitutional. It's not going to go without a challenge. So I guess what I'm saying is, I get everyone's objections. I get why everyone's hair is on fire. I don't like what's happening in Colorado any more than you do. But you're not going to change. Here's the reality. You're not going to persuade Democrats to not do this. How often do we have consequences that sometimes we see until we, as conservative/libertarians/constitutionalists, get our act together? Our only remedy is at the ballot box. Our other remedy is when these things get passed to challenge them in court. That's why you need to support organizations, these public interest law firms, Judicial Watch, the Independence Institute. You need to support these organizations, because sometimes the only way you can stop dumbass communists like some of these liberals are is in the legal system. I guess I'd also suggest this: quit emailing me crap. Have I made myself clear, Angie? Point out that the New York Times, in a front page on Monday, featured two stories on President Trump and the media. Failed than they actually intended to. He writes, as Americans brace for the next presidential campaign, already underway and showing on a screen near you, press pundits are worried about the news media's readiness for the challenge ahead. We'll report that has soured on the power of political forecasting. Now, his sources, including NBC News, Word Choice, who thought it was inevitable that Trump would lose, ignored warning signs that we were wrong, according to Susan Fisk, a professor of social psychology at Princeton. It turns out that human beings, and I'm including journalists in that group, have a tendency to discount the possibility of events that have not occurred before. Noah Oppenheim, who became president of NBC News in 2017, his ad, the story continues. Even nominee and thousands flocked to his rallies, many journalists and voters seemed unable to imagine general election. Think about his word choice. Everyone he spoke to seemed to greet the very concept of a Trump victory with abject horror. He writes, Mr. Pinker, who urges students to accept that data is almost always more reliable than intuition, followed the polls that showed Mr. Trump at the top of the Republican field. On Election Day, he understood intellectually that a 30% chance of winning meant that if the election were held, he would bring himself to voters remain concerned about the way 2016 was covered. Mr. Oppenheim acknowledged that the next 21 months would be crucial for trust in the news media as an institution. Seriously. Speaking of trust in the news media, there was nothing said about the media's shameful mistreatment of, for example, those coveting high school kids, or the meltdown of the BuzzFeed scoop claiming that Trump had actually directed Michael Cohen to lie to Congress about a Moscow real estate deal. Where he said this, a need for journalists to more critically question their own assumptions. Well, actually, it's too bad, because the media won't question their own biases. Now, on the very same page that story appeared, Jim Berg's Mediator column, who once again attacked pro-Trump tabloid journalism, but at least had an amusing catch. The online headline read as such, "The Tabloid Myths of Jennifer Aniston and Donald Trump." And here's what he said. Going by the tabloid reports, I found that Ms. Aniston should have given birth to some 24 babies in the last few years. According to OK Alone, she has acquired up to 15 kids since 2013, having been pregnant 9 times, twice. But then he The Apprentice, suggested Republicans who don't trust Bob Mueller's investigation of Trump's alleged ties to Russia are delusional. Yeah, we apparently are delusional. 2 years into this investigation, zilch about Russian collusion. Here's what a storyline that has been fleshed out by the National Enquirer, his unignorable Twitter feed, his Fox News cheering section, Hannity had a new deep state theory to InfoWars a week before his arrest on Friday. The desire to believe helps explain polls like the one from Quinnipiac late last year, reporting that 83% of Republicans view Mr. Mueller's investigation as a witch hunt, despite the string of indictments, convictions, and guilty pleas that preceded the charges against Mr. Stone. Well, here's what they completely miss. Do you think anybody in the Southern District of New York, do you think anybody in the District of Columbia had Paul Manafort on their radar? No, nobody did. The only reason Paul Manafort is sitting in jail right now in solitary confinement is because he was a member of the Trump campaign. So when Mueller started his investigation, he was one of the people that Mueller wanted to talk to. Now, I'm not making excuses for Manafort lying in jail, because if anything he did that's so-called investigation that had something entirely different to do with what he's been charged with. And the same is true for Roger Stone, the same is true for Michael Cohen, the same is true for General Flynn, Michael Flynn, the same is true for all of these people. None of them have been convicted for colluding with Russians, which I would argue is not a crime anyway. Collusion in and of itself, it's just like my argument with Paul earlier. You can claim that somebody had violated an oath, but to claim that they should go to jail for violating an oath is simply absurd. You're criminalizing a political difference. And what we're doing here is we have criminalized an election. A collusion, which in and of itself is not a crime, has resulted in these convictions and these indictments that have nothing to do with the reason why Mueller was originally appointed in the first place. And I think that's a distinction that people need to get through their heads. It doesn't mean that you have to somehow justify Paul Manafort or anybody else who has lied to investigators or lied to Congress or lied to anybody else. But what you have to do, Mueller has been told to do, and that's to investigate criminal collusion with a foreign state. Forget the Russians. It could have been the Chinese, it could have been the North Koreans, it could have been the Brazilians, it could have been anybody. To somehow illegally influence an election, have really put into focus that this is about criminalizing an election. It is about putting on this president, instead trying to destroy this president, trying to overturn an election. I actually enjoy. I do enjoy when a journalist takes on, or the president on in the administration. And that's not you and I to understand exactly what's going on in that administration. That's what the Fourth Estate is supposed to do. They are supposed to question. They are supposed to ask the questions about policy. They're supposed to ask the questions about, well, if the president said this, but his advisors are doing something else. Those are legitimate questions. I have zero problem with that. What I have problems with are journalists that don't ask policy questions. I keep using the term journalists. That are not asking legitimate policy questions, but instead just trying to literally bring down a president. Stay tuned. I got a story coming up that just absolutely baffles me. Caught a St. Louis shooting of a cop by another cop. They may have been playing Russian roulette. It looks like there may actually be. Let me just give a little tease here. Here are the facts. The allegations are two officers, Hendren and partner, are on duty. As you do, again, puts one bullet in the chamber and begins screwing around, spinning, aimed the weapon away from Alex when he fired, and then Alex took it and pointed it at his head and dry fired, and then Hendren took it back and shot her in the chest, and she died. Russian roulette? Let's find out. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Tomorrow on Colorado's Morning News.
You're as cold as ice.
We'll go live to Atlanta to talk about the bitter temps and the Super Bowl.
Speaking of cold, we preview the snow show as it gets underway in Denver.
That is 50-degree temps are headed our way.
Join us on KOA News Radio.
You know, I've told you a few years ago I turned down endorsing a solar company because when I looked at the financials, it just simply didn't make sense for the homeowner. I just couldn't endorse. You replace your current electric, own your energy. There's no down payment needed, and once your panels are paid off, you've got free energy for your house for life. You own those solar panels as opposed to renting them, which is what everybody else does. This simultaneously gives you more money in your pocket and increases your home's value. And when Zoetic puts solar panels on your roof, they're also going to insulate your attic, put in a smart home thermostat, all for free. Saves you even more money. And Zoetic Solar is free quote, 888-637-4447.
Entrepreneur. And none can hold a candle to Patriot Software. Their software is ridiculously easy to use. The support staff is knowledgeable and courteous. I am very excited that Patriot Software files my tax forms for me. Not just providing payroll has been a long-time headache that I no longer struggle with, thanks to Patriot Software. I definitely rate your company 5 out of 5 stars.
Go to patriotsoftware.com to get your payroll pricing for up to 100 employees. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll processing free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
patriotsoftware.com. Accounting and payroll. Keep your time and money.
Let's talk about regenerative medicine for a moment, shall we? Hi, it's Mandy, and I got regenerative therapy shots in both knees from Downtown's Healthcare, and they have changed my life. I feel like I'm 10 years younger, and I can actually jog again. At Downtown's Healthcare, call 303-292-9992. That's 303-292-9992 for Downtown's Healthcare.
Attention! If you're in debt to the IRS and frustrated with your options, for a limited time you can call and quickly check your eligibility for the Fresh Start programs offered by the IRS to reduce or even eliminate your tax problem. Through this special toll-free hotline number, you can find out in minutes if you qualify for these powerful new debt reduction programs green-lighted by the IRS for 2019. If you have unfiled tax returns, under audit, have a wage or bank levy, or just want to know your options, business or personal, Republic Tax Relief's A-plus rated tax relief system has helped thousands stop IRS collections immediately and saved millions in tax debt. These relief programs will not last forever. Call the hotline number now, 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794. Check your eligibility for tax debt savings today. Call 800-406-1794. That's 800-406-1794.
Sunflower Bank has a new account with an out-of-this-world offer. Their new Infinite Money Market account earns you 2.35 annual percentage yield on balances of $50,000 or more. And if you don't have $50,000 to invest, your money will still earn 1.5% APY. You simply need $1,000 to open the account and keep a positive balance. I haven't even seen online banks paying that much. Check them out today. Ask about their Infinite Money Market. Tell them that April sent you. It's sunflowerbank.com/infinite. Member FDIC.
KOA News Radio, time 9:30. Record cold temperatures about to hit the Midwest and Great Lakes regions. A polar vortex expected to send temperatures dipping into extreme cold. 20 to 35 degrees below zero being forecast. Wind chills will make it feel even worse. Feel like temperatures approaching 55 below. More than 200 flights across the country are delayed and about 1,000 canceled. The nation's top intelligence officials have presented a thorough assessment of the global threats facing the country.
After last year's summit, of course, President Trump proclaimed there is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea, but there has been zero significant progress on denuclearization. So to hear that directly from those intelligence officials, Gina Haspel, the CIA director, say the regime, Kim Jong-un, is committed to developing a long-range armed missile that would pose a direct threat to the United States. That is a complete contradiction to what we've heard from Donald Trump.
That's ABC Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz. Our next update at 10 o'clock. David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Accident-free around the metro area. Slight delay, however, westbound I-70 at 270. That's due to construction. You might see some slowing from Havana. Other than that, I-70 looks great in both directions. I-25 is wide open from the tech center into downtown. We do have that construction eastbound C-470 on the ramp to northbound I-25. Italy closed until 5:30 in the morning. CBS 4 weather. Tonight, mostly clear and cold, low of 10. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high near 35, currently 22 degrees. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
Getting a tasty breakfast sandwich with a quality cup of coffee, that's a morning victory. Getting it served quick and at a great price, that's like a morning victory with a parade and a marching band. Get a sausage McMuffin for $1 and add any size hot drip coffee for just $1 more on McDonald's $1, $2, $3 menu. Hot and tasty, fast and easy. That's breakfast at McDonald's. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Right now could be one of the best times to make money in real estate. In fact, according to Realty Track, the average profit from fixing and flipping a house is currently $58,000 nationwide. So if you're thinking, I'd love to flip 1 to 3 houses this year, then you're in luck. The National Real Estate Network is looking for motivated people to join their real estate team in the Denver area. You do not need lots of money or any house flipping experience with the National Real Estate Network. They've already taught thousands of people across the country their strategies on flipping houses in today's market. And they know that Denver is perfect for their system to flip houses now. So if you're interested in creating your own real estate business and accessing a powerful network, then call 800-264-3982 to get your free Riches in Real Estate kit. Call now and you'll get free admission to an introductory class where you'll be provided a smartwatch and the Network's Guide to Investing, free just for attending. Call 800-264-3982. That's 800-264-3982 for your free kit today.
If you built a van, you'd start with the people who invented the work van, Mercedes-Benz. It would be available in diesel and gas. There would be thousands of configurations to choose from, and you'd build it right here in the USA. Introducing the all-new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, built for you. The all-new Sprinter, built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms.
This is Sean Farshi with Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Find your new Sprinter at Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Mercedesoflittleton.com.
Connect with Michael Brown. Find him on social media through KOANewsRadio.com.
30,000 feet above the city where I fell in love with you. And the vacant concrete skyline brings an urban lullaby that still rings true. When I passed you on the street that day, should've let that red scar fly away. Like any chance I had of keeping you. Like the northern wind blowing, yeah, my lonely heart was frozen. Never knew I'd find a way to break yours too. Where the wind blows, babe, you can bet I'll be riding high with it, holding on for my dear life just like I always did. Close your eyes, babe, take a breath, say my name and I'll be there. My love will find you anywhere, anywhere, my love. The city lights look like a country sky, like staring at stars turned upside down. I wish I might.
I don't know whether they're a lawyer or not. Is citing federal statutes about. Hang on here. I got to make a copy of this, paste, and I will read those tomorrow. Okay, so let's go back to these cops playing Russian roulette. Here's how the local St. Louis station reported. It was a 7-minute report. Here's just the introduction.
24-year-old Caitlin Alex was at the home of another officer in South St. Louis when she was shot just before 1 this morning. The home is on Dover Place near Colorado Avenue, just north of Carondelet Park.
Police tell us Officer Alex was with 2 male officers who were on duty at the time, and News 4 has confirmed the gun she was killed with was not a department-issued weapon.
Tonight, News 4 has team coverage talking with Officer Alex's mother, as well as checking in with city officials about why these officers were at a home outside their district.
We begin tonight with our Russell Kinsaw, who is pushing investigators for more details. He is live tonight from police headquarters.
Well, I can tell you there will be 2 simultaneous investigations, one by the police department, the other by the circuit attorney's office with assistance from the highway patrol. Police, for now, are calling this an accidental shooting, but there are so many questions to be answered. How did this happen when officers are trained to safely handle firearms?
I think this is just one of the most bizarre stories I've run across in a long time. So here are the facts. Let's start with the allegations. Officer Hendren and Officer Partner, but that's the name, Partner. Hendren and Partner are on duty. They go to visit Officer Alex, the female, who is off duty. They go to Hendren's house. They begin playing with handguns. Hendren clears a revolver that is not a duty weapon, puts 1 bullet in the chamber, begins screwing around, spinning the cylinder. Partner wanders away. Supposedly, Hendren aimed the weapon away from the female officer, Alex, when he fired, and then Alex, the female officer, took it, pointed it at Hendren's head, and dry fired. Then Hendren took it back, shot her in the chest, and she dies. Now, the source for that account appears to be Officer Hendren, if you read all of the local stories. Partner is, in the police reports, partner is out of the room. He says he's out of the room when the shooting occurs. The female is dead. This leaves one person telling the tale. The unpleasant and cynical among you may think claiming Russian roulette, where you shoot the other person at your house while you're on duty, and she's not, is maybe not true. So let me get this out of the way. We don't have reliable facts on this generally because law enforcement's earlier response contradicts the current narrative. But I'm going to accept these facts as true just because I'm fascinated by this story, and I think it's a good jumping off point. So let's talk about Russian roulette. Russian roulette, Polish roulette, just shoot them. These come in 4 basic scenarios. Regular Russian roulette. 1 bullet in the chamber. We all take turns, usually while hammered, pulling the trigger until somebody dies. There's a seminal case on this, Commonwealth versus Atencio. Comes out of Massachusetts in 1964, where the survivors were successfully prosecuted for involuntary manslaughter, but every state has a different rule. This is a thorny issue that merits a lot more explanation. 2, the after party. Somebody ends up killing themselves accidentally after everybody else has finished the game and nobody's dead yet. That's generally not a criminal homicide. But 3, there's this thing, where the gun is pointed at the other person, called Polish roulette. In one case, I can find no case today where a murder conviction has been overturned for this conduct anywhere in the United States. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but that's the way to bet. Here's a case where the guy has 2 bullets in the chamber, fires once to his head, click, asks his friend if she's okay with him firing it at her, and she says yes. Then she ends up dead. He appealed on the ground of, hey, this is involuntary manslaughter because I'm super wasted, and she consented. No, that's not going to work. So let's go to number 4, Russian roulette. In name only. Somebody may have different goals and be playing by different rules. In one case, a guy claimed it actually was Russian roulette, but then clarified that he put the gun at the back of the other guy's head and said, surprise, MFer, before actually pulling the trigger. The victim was more dead than surprised, obviously. So what's the law? Almost everywhere in the United States, let's take a step back and figure out what crime is committed when we're having our fun game of Russian roulette. In most jurisdictions, we need to discuss malice. Suppose somebody stabs a guy in the chest 37 times. The defense would say, I did not know stabbing people in the chest all those times could kill him. Now, if that's true, that negates malice in California and a lot of other states, and it's an involuntary manslaughter. But just not caring enough, we think somebody is lying about this. It's not a felony murder because of something called the merger doctrine, which makes assaultive felonies that constitute the killing ineligible for felony murder. So we end up with implied malice or a depraved heart murder on all kinds of facts. For example, you go on a week-long meth bender and you leave your baby to die. Well, that makes you a murderer. You drive 110 miles an hour super stoned, that's a murder. You did something very dangerous knowing it was dangerous, like firing a gun with at least one bullet in it at a person. There's something called the Model Penal Code. And a lot of states have ruled either explicitly or implicitly that Russian roulette is one of those things that shows implied malice or depraved heart murder. But this is just a detour in this specific case, because this case is in Missouri. And here's the law in Missouri. Like Texas before it, it's different. There was a 1986 change in law, removed first-degree felony murder for enumerated felonies and made all felonies eligible for second-degree murder. And the Missouri courts were initially taking the Beavis approach to legislative intent. Words suck, until eventually coming around to the butthead approach, words actually mean something, and abolish the merger doctrine. The relevant statutes are Missouri's second-degree murder statute. It says a person commits murder if they, quote, commit or attempt to commit any felony, and in the perpetration or the attempted perpetration of such felony, or in the flight from the perpetration or attempted perpetration of such felony, another person is killed. So do we have a felony here? How about second-degree assault? Recklessly causing physical injury to another person by means of discharging a firearm. Well, that's essentially what happened. But ideally, we'd have a series of cases which explain the merger doctrine has been abolished specifically as to second-degree assault. And you actually have a couple of cases in Missouri which do that, which means in Missouri, this is felony murder. So should we have sympathy for a cop killer here? Hendren has now been charged with involuntary manslaughter. Now remember, he's the guy that puts the bullet in the cylinder, dry clicks at his head. The other cop, his named partner, is out of the room. Alex takes the gun, puts it to her head, dry clicks. Hendren takes the gun, but points it at her chest, fires, she dies. When you look at the prosecutor's statements, when people point guns at cops and shoot them to death, generally they kind of lack the tone of, well, I'm very sad to charge Mr. Cop Killer with a very bad charge, but I guess we need to do this, not because murdering cops is super terrible, but the family has hurt feelings, so we just have to, no matter how much catching and prosecuting cop killers makes us cry. I think this is murder under Missouri law. I think it's murder under every other state's law, under a basic system of fairness, under everything. I'd understand a non-murder resolution, but murder's not overcharging here. It's not remotely a reach. It's the clear crime when one takes a partly loaded firearm, aims it at somebody's chest, and fires. The female cop, Officer Alex, paid with her life. The other officer, soon to be a non-officer, Hendren, I think ought to pay with more than involuntary manslaughter. This charging and this explanation are not respectful to the good cops out there. It's not respectful to the rule of law. It's not respectful to the people of Missouri. There's some kind of second guessing going on here, and I don't know what it is, because this was a predictable killing. When did it become predictable? The minute Hendren, the cop that's been charged with involuntary manslaughter, it became a predictable killing the minute he put a bullet in the chamber and pointed it at her chest. I don't care how many times each of them stuck the weapon to their temple. The minute he took the weapon and pointed it at her chest, that moved from involuntary manslaughter to a predictable, more likely than not, the weapon's going to fire and you're going to die. We might be wrong about some of the facts. Yeah, who knows? I might have misinterpreted some of the Missouri law. I might not know very important things that change the equities of the situation. But I got to tell you, there's something fishy about this case. Why did the other cop leave the room? Why did they go out of the district that they were supposed to be in, the two cops that were on duty, leave their district, go to their home? Now, that would be justifiable if, say, you and your partner are on patrol and you get a message from your wife or whomever's at your home that the kid's sick or there's been an accident or something. Yeah, you're going to leave your district and you're going to go to your house to do whatever you need to do to take care of that family emergency. There's no allegation of anything like that whatsoever. And what's Alex, the off-duty cop, doing there? Why are the three of them there in this house outside the district, and why are they playing Russian roulette? When every conceivable interpretation I can think of in terms of involuntary manslaughter, just regular old manslaughter, second-degree murder and first-degree murder, were clearly, when you knowingly point a weapon at another person and you know that there is a bullet in the chamber and you pull the trigger and it results in the death of somebody, you've got either first-degree or second-degree murder. That's my opinion, and I could be wrong. But I find it fascinating because there's something going on in this case that the news media is not reporting. And I know that we're all focused on the two cops in Denver that ended up, I think the dirtbag ended up committing, I don't know whether it's clear or not, that the dirtbag in Denver over on 6th Avenue in Inca somewhere, whether he killed himself or was killed by one of the cops, I don't think that's clear yet. But you've got a pretty clear-cut case of a dirtbag in Colorado. You've got a very clear-cut case of a couple of dirtbags in Houston. And all of those cases are national stories. Now you've got a cop killing another cop and barely a peep. Oh, it's all over the news in St. Louis. But you would think that a bizarre, at least maybe I'm just fascinated with it, but when you have a cop-on-cop killing under those circumstances, it seems to me that it deserves more attention than what it's getting. Speaking of dumbass legal matters, Pierce Corcoran, who was an aspiring personal trainer, was killed in a head-on car crash that was allegedly caused by a 44-year-old illegal alien, Francisco Eduardo Franco Cambrani, days before New Year's Eve. This illegal alien, according to the police reports, was driving without a license, without proper registration for his vehicle. He's been charged with negligent homicide and driving without a license. You would think he would be in jail, right? He's not. General Sessions Court Judge Patricia Long granted a $3,500 bond, noting that agents with ICE might take him into custody if he's released. He is being required to wear an ankle monitor if he does get released on bond. Now, Franco Cambrani's bond had initially been stated at $3,500, but was revoked when prosecutors urged that he might actually need to stay in custody. So the judge said she had to reinstate the bond under Tennessee state law. The public defender who's representing this dirtbag asked that Long throw out the negligent homicide case. The judges refused. In a recent interview with Breitbart News, the family of the deceased said they are continuing to mourn the loss of their loved one. It's still new, and we're still dealing with the reality every day that there's not going to be another family picture with him in it, another vacation with him there, another holiday, another birthday. So for us, it's the worst time we've ever had to face, according to Wendy Corcoran, Pierce's mother. Why is this story important? Here you have an illegal alien once again committing a crime that, but for the illegal alien being in this country, the crime would not have been committed. That's number one. But number two, a $3,500 bond? Negligent homicide? And you can a $3,500 bond. He pays $350, assuming that a bondsman's willing to issue a bond for him. And he's out on $350. Oh, if he gets out, we'll put an ankle bracelet on. How many times and how many stories have I described where illegal aliens that show up in immigration court are told to return? They put ankle bracelets on when the illegal alien also happens to be a criminal illegal alien. They put ankle bracelets on. Those are off within 10 or 15 minutes after leaving the courthouse. And as I pointed out yesterday, some 40% of them never show back up in court. What do you think the chances are that this dirtbag out on a $3,500 bond is never going to show up again? That he's on his way back to wherever he was, I don't know where he's from, Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, I don't know. I don't care. What I do know is this. There's another U.S. citizen dead that would not be dead but for this illegal alien being in the country illegally. And a dumbass judge lets him out on a $3,500 bond. Can you imagine if you committed negligent homicide, what your bond would be? $350,000, not $3,500. You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always on the Michael Brown Show page at KOANewsRadio.com.
Mandy Connell here. Have you heard about an Article 5 convention, also known as a convention of states? Many think it's our only chance for term limits and a balanced budget. So I've got a guest who'll explain it all. Join me tomorrow at 1 on KOA News Radio.
Hey America, the cannabis industry is on the rise. There's an easy way to learn more about the cannabis industry. Just go and visit hightimes.com. That's hightimes.com.
Homeowners, there's never been a better time to permanently fix your pipe leaks or low water pressure by repiping your home today. Repipe specialists have been repiping homes for over 25 years. With 40,000 home repipes completed, they stand behind their work. They have perfected the most efficient process for customer convenience, repiping an entire home in just 1 to 2 days, patching your walls, and providing a lifetime guarantee. Repipe Specialists only uses high-quality PEX or USA Grade L copper pipes. And for a limited time, get 20% off and 0% interest for an entire year. Repipe Specialists, the no-hassle, value-priced, all-inclusive repipe. Call today for your free in-home estimate tailored for your home at 888-503-1742. That's 888-503-1742. 888-503-1742.
Islanders in the Caribbean like to say that if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes. Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, and that's great advice for the stock market, too. It's easy to get upset when the market falls, but what we have to remember is that this too shall pass. Now, that's easy to say, but sometimes it can feel hard to do. So in times like these, when stock prices are swinging wildly one day to the next, making you worry that your financial future might be at risk, here's the advice you need. Don't feel that you have to go it alone. I invite you to talk with one of my experienced financial planners at Edelman Financial Engines. Let's take a look at your investments and see if they're doing what you need and expect. We'll either reassure you that you're doing what you should be doing, or we'll give you recommendations to help you get the peace of mind you need so you can, well, wait for the sun to shine once again. Call us at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com.
Don't miss the Vacation Showcase Travel Expo hosted by AAA Travel. Over 60 exhibitors, cruise companies, tour operators, passport agency, and more. Meet Broncos cheerleaders and enter to win one of 2 European getaways. See you at Mile High Friday and Saturday, February 1st and 2nd.
If you built a van, you'd start with the people who invented the work van, Mercedes-Benz. It would be available in diesel and gas. There would be thousands of configurations to choose from, and you'd build it right here in the USA. Introducing the all-new Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, built for you. The all-new Sprinter, built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Options, model availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms.
This is Sean Farshi with Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Find your new Sprinter at Mercedes-Benz of Littleton. Mercedes-of-Littleton.com.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
KBCO HD3 Boulder. This is an iHeartRadio station.
KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM. The 50,000-watt blowtorch of the Rocky Mountain West.
KOA News Radio time, 10 o'clock. Our top story, an arrest in Lodo assaults. First, though, traffic and weather together with Darren Copeland.
Accident-free, but we are seeing some slight problems due to construction around the metro area. You'll see a slight delay westbound I-70 at 270. They have the right lane blocked off there, so you see some slight backup starting back to Peoria. We're also seeing a little slowing due to construction eastbound 270 from Vasquez to York that are causing some delays across that stretch. I-25 is wide open from the tech center into downtown. Also, I-76 and the Boulder Turnpike are both looking good. I'm Darren Copeland on KOA News Radio, Colorado's news, traffic, and weather station.
After a cold night and a snowy day yesterday, skies are back to clear and lots of sunshine. Tonight's still a little bit chilly out there, so watch out for those icy conditions. 12 degrees tonight, clear skies. Tomorrow we warm up even more, so we get to 45, a lot more melting around here, and after that we head to the 50s with lots of sunshine. From CBS 4, I'm meteorologist Lauren Whitney on KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
22 degrees in Denver. He cruised Lodo in an Audi looking to pick up young women as they left the bar. Now 50-year-old Byron Whitthorne is facing charges in the sexual assault of 4 women. The DA says Whitthorne is accused of assaulting the women after offering them a ride home. His DNA from a recent assault matched 3 other sex assault cases, and police say there could be more victims. They're urging any other women who were assaulted to come forward. A driverless shuttle, now part of an RTD pilot project serving the area next to the 61st and Peña train station near DIA.
The driverless shuttle is made by Easy Mile, which has its North American headquarters near the train station. RTD General Manager Dave Genova says this is the first time in the United States that a driverless electric vehicle has been used on a public transit route.
This pilot program will give us the means to test this technology for sustainability, accessibility, and the ability to perform in this environment.
The driverless shuttle will operate on a route called 61AV and will serve the area in and around the train station. Jerry Bell, KOA News Radio.
They sold used cars with very low miles, and it seemed almost too good to be true, and it may have been. The owners of AFG Auto Sales in Federal Heights are being charged with forgery and theft in an odometer rollback scheme. They're accused of taking up to $100,000 from 34 victims, along with 6 counts of forgery. The district attorney says Sadek and Naeem Kargar rolled back more than 2.5 million miles on 29 vehicles that they sold. Their first court date is late next month. In Pittsburgh, a police officer credited for saving the life of a newborn.
Pittsburgh police officer Aaron Connor responded to a report of an unresponsive infant. The police department posting the story on its Facebook page, saying when the officer arrived at the apartment, he found the baby on the living room floor, not breathing. Her family reportedly telling the officer she may have taken in water to her lungs when she was being bathed. Officer Connor administered CPR and the baby spit up water and was able to breathe on her own. Firefighters and emergency crews arrived on scene and the baby was rushed to the hospital. Doctors say the baby girl is expected to make a full recovery. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
With Democrats seemingly announcing White House candidacies weekly, news one is out. L.A. Mayor Eric Garcetti says he will not run for president.
This was not an easy decision given the extraordinary times that we live in.
Garcetti had been raising money in Los Angeles and across the country for the Democratic Party. Our next update at 10:30, David Kale, KOA News Radio 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Right now could be one of the best times to make money in real estate. In fact, according to Realty Track, the average profit from fixing and flipping a house is currently $58,000 nationwide. So if you're thinking, I'd love to flip 1 to 3 houses this year, then you're in luck. The National Real Estate Network is looking for motivated people to join their real estate team in the Denver area. You do not need lots of money or any house flipping experience with the National Real Estate Network. They've already taught thousands of people across the country their strategies on flipping houses in today's market. And they know that Denver is perfect for their system to flip houses now. So if you're interested in creating your own real estate business and accessing a powerful network, then call 800-264-3982 to get your free Riches in Real Estate kit. Call now and you'll get free admission to an introductory class where you'll be provided a smartwatch and the network's guide to investing, free just for attending. Call 800-264-3982. That's 800-264-3982 for your free kit today.
Tonight, Michael Brown joins me here.
This is the former FEMA director.
Talk show host Michael Brown.
Brownie. Now.
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job.
It's a heck of a show with Michael Brown.
You're on the radio.
On KOA News Radio.
I'm just skimming through some federal statutes that somebody on YouTube has sent me. And I think, here's where I think everybody goes off the rails. And I'll do a LexisNexis search tomorrow and come back and tell you what the courts have said about these particular statutes. But everybody is focused, I shouldn't say everybody, but this one person in particular is focused on Title V, Section 7311, which makes it a federal criminal offense for, hang on, let me pull this back up a second. I hate doing this during the middle of the program. But, nonetheless, it's, because I also got a nastygram. I'll read you the nastygram in just a second. Whoever violates the provision of Section 7311 of Title V, that an individual may not accept or hold a position in the government of the United States or the government of the District of Columbia if he, 1, advocates the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. That turns on whether or not introducing legislation that, in my opinion or your opinion, may violate the Constitution. Is that advocating the overthrow of a constitutional form of government? And with just skimming it, without looking at the case law, I would say that simply proposing legislation that I believe, and I would hope you believe, and we're talking about the compact, the compact, the National Popular Vote Compact, I don't think that legislation is advocating the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. Our constitutional form of government is in this document. And advocating or proposing legislation that we believe might be a violation of part of this is a long ways from advocating the overthrow of a constitutional form of government. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, everybody on our side of the political spectrum, those of us who are conservative, libertarian, constitutionalists, I get that we are at our wits' end with the direction of the country. But that doesn't mean that everything that our political opponents do is either treasonous or is advocating the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. Let me give you an example. Somebody passes some state. It doesn't have to be a state. It could be any legislative body, a city council, a county commissioner, state legislature. They pass a law that in some way you and I believe violates the First Amendment. Or let's take something that's near and dear to our hearts. Somebody, for example, where is it? Kamala Harris, right here.
What do you think can be done, and what would you be prepared to do to address the problem of gun violence?
We have got to have smart gun safety laws in this country, and we've got to stop buying this false choice. You can be in favor of the Second Amendment and also understand that there is no reason in a civil society that we have assault weapons around communities that can kill babies and police officers. Something like universal background checks. It makes perfect sense that you might want to know before someone can buy a weapon that can kill another human being. You might want to know, have they been convicted of a felony where they committed violence? That's just reasonable. 20 6- and 7-year-old babies were massacred in Connecticut. They failed to act. Here's what I think. I think that somebody should have required, and this is going to sound very harsh, I think somebody should have required all those members of Congress to go in a room, in a locked room, no press, no one, nobody else, and look at the autopsy photographs of those babies. And then you vote your conscience. This has become a political issue. This has become a political issue. And there is no reason why we cannot have reasonable gun safety laws in this country.
Now stop and think about what she is advocating. Kamala Harris is advocating for, her words not mine, an assault weapon ban. Now I don't know what the hell an assault weapon is, because every weapon that I own, including a baseball bat and a 9-iron, are assault weapons. And she proclaims that she's a Second Amendment supporter, yet you and I think, could agree that we think that what she's doing by advocating or perhaps even proposing an assault weapon ban is a violation of the Second Amendment. It would be a violation of a part of the Bill of Rights of the United States Constitution. That is not advocating the overthrow of our constitutional form of government. That is a political and constitutional difference of opinion. It's not treason. I get it that we're all frustrated that we're all sick and tired of all of these liberals and all of these Marxists and quite frankly, in my opinion, all of these commies that have infiltrated the universities, public education, have infiltrated the government, and are advocating all of these things that if they get their way, over time will actually lead to a tyrannical government. But each single one of these is not a treasonous act. Proposing legislation that you and I believe is in violation of the Second Amendment is not treason. Advocating for a national popular vote, which is in violation of the Constitution, in my opinion, is not treason. And it is not a violation of their oath to advocate for their political position. So I get this email. Yeah, I'm angry tonight. This comes from Flak Shack at AOL. Prosecution of officials that violate their oath of office. Mike, let me help you. It is called, and for emphasis, he puts the word treason in all caps. That is when a government official seeks to overturn or undermine the Constitution of the United States. Actually, no. And then he says, your former boss would be so ashamed of you, or maybe not. But I am. Well, quite frankly, FlakShack at AOL.com, I don't care whether you're ashamed of me or not. I happen to be the voice of reason. I happen to be the voice of reason in an angry mob. And I understand the angry mob. I'm angry. But I'm not about to go out and start advocating irrationally that the people who are our political opponents are committing treason. They are not conspiring with enemies of the United States to bring down the United States. You understand that that is what they are trying to accuse Donald Trump of. They're actually, in a backdoor way, trying to accuse him of treason by charging or by allegations that somehow he colluded with the Russians to influence an election. Everybody needs to dial it back. Because here's why. If you go around screaming all the time that such and such liberal or such and such Democrat is out there committing treason, like Kamala Harris, I think Kamala Harris is a danger to this republic. I think what she advocates in that 90-second soundbite is blatantly unconstitutional. But I do not believe it is treasonous. We have, right here in my hot little hands, the remedy for the people like Kamala Harris, the United States Constitution. And that Constitution gives us a remedy. The remedy is either at the ballot box or in the court system. And if we go around screaming all the time that the differences that we have with people who would destroy this country ultimately, who would destroy the Constitution ultimately, by each individual act are committing treason, we are harming our own cause. We are harming our ability to persuade those ignorant people, and I don't mean that pejoratively, those ignorant people who are not paying attention to public affairs, who are not paying attention to current events, who are too busy raising their families, trying to put their kids through school, trying to put food on their dinner plate. Do you think they care or give a rat's ass about whether something is treason or not treason? No. My God, I get the anger. I'm angry. I'm sick of these people. But quite frankly, I'm sick of the irrationality on our side too. And if that means you quit listening, so be it, because I'm going to speak the truth. And the truth is that what these people are doing to us is not treasonous. They are not aiding and abetting the enemies of this country. Take Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Take Bernie Sanders. They are avowed socialists. They would like nothing better than to destroy the capitalist society that we live in. That's not treason. That is a difference of political opinion. If we're going to win this battle, we need to win the battle with facts, logic, and rationality. They're the ones that are emotional. And if we go half-cocked all the time, screaming everything that they do is treason, you're going to lose those that we need to persuade to our side. And oh, by the way, no, I will not do your legal research for you. If you want to hear what those cases were that I cited, you can go back and listen to the podcast. I'm not going to spend all night or all day tomorrow replying to emails. Hey, can I get the name of that case? I gave you the name of the case. You can go look it up. If you missed it, you can listen to the podcast. It was in the last hour. Oh. You know, if we would, one thing, I got this story right here. If we would sit back, the left is already eating its own. One Democratic lawmaker told the New York delegation to find a primary opponent and make it happen. A primary opponent for who? Our favorite little socialist dingbat, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The Hill reported this morning that congressional Democrats have grown so angry with AOC that they want to recruit somebody to primary her. Sit back. When somebody is hanging themselves with their own rope, watch and enjoy. Don't get in the middle of it. The Hill reports at least one House Democrat has been privately urging members of the New York delegation to recruit a local politician from the Bronx or Queens to challenge Ocasio-Cortez. What I have recommended to the New York delegation is that you find her a primary opponent and make her a one-term congressman. The Democratic lawmaker who requested anonymity told The Hill, "You've got numerous council people and state legislators who've been waiting 20 years for that seat. I'm sure they can find numerous people who want that seat in that district." She's a socialist. She's a danger to the republic. And the Democrats are trying to get rid of her. Don't screw it up. Don't screw it up by saying that what she's doing is treasonous. Holy cow. You know what, Angie, just for the hell of it. Mark, you're on with Michael Brown. What you got?
Hey, Mike. You have a electoral college question. I think another state might do that, but can Colorado put their presidential votes, split the state up by the congressional districts?
Split what vote?
Well, like, for instance, Denver district might have voted for Hillary, and the Western Slope, couple districts out there might have voted.
No, that's in violation of Article 2, Section 5, whatever it was.
So the state cannot.
Well, they can. Look, here's the deal, Mark. They can pass the legislation, but the legislation will be.
I thought there was a state or two that split up their delegates for the president.
They've been, yes, there are several states that have joined this compact for a popular vote. Several states have done it. Colorado wants to do it. It will never see the light of day because the Supreme Court Well, first of all, it'll have to go through a district court challenge. It'll go through a court of appeals challenge. It'll eventually get to the Supreme Court. And it is blatantly in violation of Section 2 of the Constitution.
I agree with that, but I thought that, let's say a state has 6 electoral votes, and depends on the districts, they can put 3 delegates for a Democrat and 3 for a Republican. Can that be done?
Not under the Constitution, I don't think it can. You're talking about winner take all versus dividing up the electoral college votes based on the vote in that congressional district. I think that's a violation of the Constitution.
Oh, I don't know. I thought 1 or 2 states did that. I'm not sure.
I'd have to go look, but I'm not aware of any that do.
Another thing, too, is I guess they say it's going to pass the House, but Polis said he'd sign it, but would that go to the state Supreme Court before anything else?
No, I'm sure somebody would challenge it in federal court. It's because it's a violation of the U.S. Constitution.
Right. Well, I thought the state had to approve something like that, the state Supreme Court. I don't know.
Has to approve what?
That popular vote.
No, the legislature, if they want to pass this, they can pass it. And if Polis wants to sign it, he can sign it. But somebody somewhere, including me, if it takes me to do it, I'll go do it.
Yeah.
I'll go challenge it.
No,
it's blatantly unconstitutional.
I would too. I just thought it would go to the state Supreme Court.
No, because it's a federal matter. It's a U.S. constitutional matter. It's not a state constitutional matter. So it would end up in federal district court, end up in the federal appeals court, and ultimately end up in the U.S. Supreme Court.
Okay, very good.
All right.
Also, some advice for your listeners: don't play Russian roulette with an semi-automatic.
Oh, I'd say something smart, Alec, but I better keep my mouth shut. I'll just keep my mouth shut on that one. We have to play smart. We have to play smart because we really are in a battle for the soul of this country. We're in a battle for the soul of this country politically, but I think even more importantly, we're in a battle for the soul of this country culturally. And if we don't pay attention to that, instead go off half-cocked about this is treason and that's treason, it's right here.
What do you think can be done, and what would you be prepared to do to address the problem of gun violence?
We have got to have smart gun safety laws in this country, and we've got to stop buying this false choice. You can be in favor of the Second Amendment and also understand that there is no reason in a civil society that we have assault weapons around communities that can kill babies and police officers.
Oh. So what we need to do is we need to do something that's in violation of the Second Amendment. It's not, it may be unconstitutional, but it is not, I repeat, not treasonous. Oh, Angie, you got anything to drink back there? Anything to drink?
I wish.
You're listening to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio, 850 AM, 94.1 FM, and always at the Michael Brown Show page on KOA's new rate on KOA News Radio. Can I say it again? KOANewsRadio.com.
Tomorrow on Colorado's Morning News.
You're as cold as ice.
We'll go live to Atlanta to talk about the bitter temps and the Super Bowl.
Speaking of cold, we preview the snow show as it gets underway in Denver.
That is 50-degree temps are headed our way.
Join us on KOA News Radio.
Our freedom has come at the cost of many lives devoted to protecting and defending our country. It's with this in mind that we offer thanks to all our military, both past and present, men and women who risk their lives to protect and defend who we are. By donating to the Bob Woodruff Foundation at Remind.org, you can help to ensure that they will not be forgotten. This announcement is brought to you by the staff with Westis, wishing everyone a very happy New Year.
Right now could be one of the best times to make money in real estate. In fact, according to Realty Track, the average profit from fixing and flipping a house is currently $58,000 nationwide. So if you're thinking, I'd love to flip 1 to 3 houses this year, then you're in luck. The National Real Estate Network is looking for motivated people to join their real estate team in the Denver area. You do not need lots of money or any house flipping experience with the National Real Estate Network. They've already taught thousands of people across the country their strategies on flipping houses in today's market. And they know that Denver is perfect for their system to flip houses now. So if you're interested in creating your own real estate business and accessing a powerful network, then call 800-264-3982 to get your free Riches in Real Estate kit. Call now and you'll get free admission to an introductory class where you'll be provided a smartwatch and the Network's Guide to Investing, free just for attending. Call 800-264-3982. That's 800-264-3982 for your free kit today.
Hi, I'm Rick Edelman, and I have a feeling that retirement is on your mind. You're wondering if you've saved enough or whether your money is in the right places. You're wondering when will you be able to retire or will you be able to stay retired? And is your money sufficient so you can live in comfort and financial security for the rest of your life? You're wondering all this, but you really don't have to just wonder. You can resolve all these questions in your effort to enjoy a retirement that's everything you want it to be. And we can help. At Edelman Financial Engines, our clients are predominantly concerned about retirement, your financial security for your spouse, for your aging parents, for your children. And we can help you just like we've helped thousands of folks just like you for more than 30 years. So call us at Edelman Financial Engines at 888-PLAN-RIC. That's 888-PLAN-RIC. Or visit us at rickedelman.com. That's ricedelman.com. And don't wonder about your retirement because we're here to help you.
Hi, April Zesbaugh here. I enjoy so much talking about the personal attention and financial guidance that Sunflower Bank provides because it's so unique. There's a lot of shakeup going on in banking, and Sunflower is now projected to be the largest bank headquartered in Denver in 2019. While others are shifting away from the Front Range, Sunflower is investing in it. As an example, they've expanded their local team by 50% in the past 2 years. If you haven't checked them out, it's a good time to do it online at sunflowerbank.com, member FDIC.
You didn't file your taxes last year and the IRS didn't say anything. The fact is, you haven't filed income taxes for several years and you figure it's too late. It'll cost too much and there's no way you're going to figure it out. But there's still that knot in your stomach knowing it's just not right. The bad news is, right now, you're a fugitive from the IRS. The worst news is, if they catch you, it's 1 year in jail for every year you haven't filed. I'm Jack McDonough, founder of Blackfin IRS Solutions. The good news is, the instant we file your back taxes, you go from being a fugitive to just owing money. And then, Blackfin can negotiate with the IRS for you. I can help you because I've been there. The sooner you call Blackfin about filing your back taxes, the sooner you'll get a good night's sleep.
Get caught up on your unfiled income taxes. Call Blackfin IRS Solutions online at blackfinirs.com. For your free in-person consultation, call 303-904-1450, 303-904-1450, or blackfinirs.com.
KOA News Radio, time 10:30. Record cold temperatures about to hit the Midwest and Great Lakes regions. A polar vortex will drop temperatures to 20 to 35 degrees below zero. Wind chills will make it feel worse. Feel like temperatures approaching 55 below. Parents expressing frustration at other parents who refuse to vaccinate their children in light of growing measles concerns in the Pacific Northwest. ABC's Matt Gutman reports.
Little Lily Johnson faces another week in quarantine.
Freaking out at every little rash, every little cough.
Everything.
The 7-month-old might have been exposed to a growing measles outbreak when she visited a nearby clinic in Vancouver, Washington.
I've just gotten to the point where I'm angry.
He's angry because doctors believe that Lily, still too young for a vaccination, was put at risk by people who chose not to vaccinate their children.
There's been a public health emergency declared for measles in Washington state. Next update at 11, David Kale, KOA News Radio, 850 AM and 94.1 FM.
Ron Burgundy podcast is coming to iHeartRadio next week, February 7th.
Cue scary music. This is our initial launch into the podcast space, and I want to welcome you to this journey we are about to take together.
We're not sure what kind of journey Ron will take you on, but we are sure it's a must listen.
I'll never correct you on that statement.
The Ron Burgundy podcast premieres February 7th on the iHeartRadio app. Your music, your stations, your podcast. Anytime, anywhere.
iHeartRadio.
Ladies, have you been noticing symptoms like you can't lose weight, you have night sweats or hot flashes, you can't sleep, you have a low sex drive? You don't have to live this way. It's a new year, so make it a new you. I'm Susan Whitkin. Hormone Health and Weight Loss has a natural hormone therapy that can help with your symptoms. I know because it works for me. Get your life back. Call today at 720-443-4080 to schedule your free consultation or go online at hormonehealthtest.com. That's 720-443-4080. Feel better, live better. Call today.
Hey America, the cannabis industry is on the rise. There's an easy way to learn more about the cannabis industry. Just go and visit hightimes.com. That's hightimes.com.
There were smoking sections on airplanes, in restaurants, and then gradually it got to be where it wasn't anywhere. It's not part of the social norm anymore. It's not accepted. I was at a party this summer and there wasn't a single person smoking. Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. It was really a friend of mine that said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And I thought, okay, I'll try it. And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking is, I couldn't even imagine doing that. I just don't enjoy it anymore. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that I could switch.
Carolyn made the switch October 2016. Make the switch at Juul.com. That's JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Celebrate the new year with fresh, clean carpet from Zero Res. Their cleaning process means your carpets stay cleaner longer. This month, they'll clean the first 2 rooms for only $79 when you mention my name, April. Some restrictions may apply. Call 303-471-5150.
Back to Michael Brown on KOA News Radio and streaming live at KOANewsRadio.com.
I'm gonna need someone to help me. I'm gonna need somebody's hand. I'm gonna need someone to hold me down. I'm gonna need someone to care. I'm gonna rise and shake my body. I'll start pulling out my hair. I'm gonna cover myself with the ashes of you, and nobody's gonna give a damn. Son of a bitch, give me a drink. One more night, this can't be me.
I like this song. We're going to get kicked off YouTube anyway, so we might as well get kicked off for a good song. Let's go to Joe and Centennial. Joe, you're on with Michael Brown. What you got?
Hey, Mike, this thing is really interesting, but like you were saying, they could pass this thing if they want, but as soon as it goes before the Supreme Court, they're going to say, no, the Constitution already defines how we're going to do it. Now, the one thing that they can do, if they wanted to in Colorado, is there are 2 other states that do divide the electoral votes somewhat between the contestants, depending on how the vote goes. There's Maine and Nebraska. But all the other states, it's winner take all. Whoever wins the popular vote in the state.
Right. But that's not what, at least that's not what I thought the caller was asking. The caller wanted to divide the electoral votes solely by congressional district, and that is not what Maine and Nebraska do.
No, they don't. No, because they look at the total vote, and whoever gets the total vote, they get those 2 electoral votes that come from the Senate, from the 2 senators. And then they go ahead and they say, okay, now we're going to look at who won the vote for each of the districts, and then they go from there. So sometimes a guy will get 1 or none. Usually that's the way it works. But in this particular thing, what they want to do, it just from what I've heard of it, it sounds like, yeah, they can go ahead and pass it if they want in Colorado, but as soon as somebody takes it before the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court's going to look at the Constitution and says, no.
Yeah,
if you want to change the way we do the electoral system for the president, you have to change the Constitution.
You have to change the Constitution. You have to go through an Article 5 process to change the Constitution. But I want to go back because maybe I misunderstood what the caller was saying, but I thought the caller was asking, can you divide the electoral votes, say you take Colorado's, and divide each of those solely into the congressional districts? And my answer to that is no, you can't do that, because again, that's a backdoor effort of trying to destroy the Electoral College. Maine and New Hampshire, Maine and Nebraska get by with it because, as you pointed out, it's based on this. You get 2 votes based on the popular vote in that state, and then you can divide the remaining of, I think in Maine, it's 2, in Nebraska it is 3, I think.
Yes,
is how they divide them up.
Districts in Nebraska, so they have 5 electoral votes for the 2 senators.
Right, yeah.
And what happened was, I know I was reading when I was looking online to read about this, they said in like 2008, for example, when John McCain was running against Barack Obama, McCain won the overall vote for Nebraska, but he got 2 of the 3 congressional districts. The one district he didn't get was the city of Omaha, which is his own district, and and Obama won that by like 1%. So President Obama got 1 electoral vote, and then John McCain got 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's right. That's exactly right. And I think, well, I'm repeating myself, but and thanks for the call, Joe. I think everybody, and we should be concerned. Look, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be concerned about what's happening in the Colorado legislature. If you want to be concerned, I mean, if you really want to get your hair on fire, nobody's even mentioned Jared Polis's idea that we're going to have free, which I use loosely, free either preschool or kindergarten, I forget, maybe it's both, for everybody in the state of Colorado. $270 million is the estimated cost. $270 million. I don't hear anybody bitching about that. There is a lot of stuff going on. Why are we just now, when Hickenlooper decided that we were going to adopt the emission standards of California, of course I wasn't on KOA at that time, but I didn't hear anybody bitching about, wait a minute, how can you abdicate the sovereignty of the state of Colorado to the standards that California adopts? Nobody said that nobody in the legislature said that's what we want to do. But not until the Colorado Automobile Dealers Association decided to file a lawsuit did it even make the news. I just think we have this selective outrage about stuff. And for whatever reason, some things seem to take off and other things don't seem to take off. And I'm sitting here from this side of the microphone. All of you have jobs. Well, I hope you all have jobs. And if you don't have jobs, I hope you have hobbies, and I hope you do something besides listen to talk radio all day long. The only talk radio you should be listening to is me. And even when you listen to me, I'd like for you to listen to all 4 hours, but sometimes you ought to drop off and give room for somebody else to step in and listen, because we can't have everybody listening all at the same time. I sit here every day. You know, people ask me about show prep. And show prep is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And by that, I mean, I'm always looking for stories. And I have the privilege, and I get paid for this too. I have the privilege of sitting down, getting up every morning, taking the dogs to breakfast, taking the dogs for a walk, and then I get to sit down, and I don't have to go to some dumbass meeting and listen to some story about whatever, the boss is talking about, and I know you're not listening, you're not paying attention. No, I get to sit down in front of 2 or 3 computer screens, and I get to sit and read all day long about all of this stuff going on. And if you don't think that I'm not pissed off, if you don't think that I'm not, here's how upset my household is. Tamara despises politics. And rarely, if ever, do we discuss politics. But ever since last November's election, and ever since the legislature went into session this month, I have heard her complain more about what's happening to this great state than I probably ever heard, even when she was in D.C. with me and we were going to all of these events that were nothing but political in nature. That's how bad it is. That's a little perspective from this side of the microphone. So I share the frustration. I share the fear of what is happening to this great republic. But I also, at the same time, recognize, I didn't get to it. But I'll give you an example of why there are times when I am incredibly optimistic. Hey, Mr. Brown, Shirley writes, I was listening to your show last night about helping out elderly veterans, and I wanted to share with you what my husband David and I do for elderly veterans. Sometimes when we go out for breakfast at our local eatery, we search out anyone who is wearing a veteran's hat or any item that would identify them as military, and when we do, we invite them to eat with us and we pay for their breakfast or dinner. Now, given the opportunity to talk to them, we ask all about their military experience, and I can't tell you how much these men love talking and remembering their military service. We are generally sitting for quite a while listening. This truly brings joy to my husband and I to share the morning with our veterans. We also do a rose for every grave on Memorial Day through the American Legion Riders, and we are always looking for donation of flowers so that every grave has a rose. Thank you for your dedication to our military and veterans, your new listener, Shirley. There was that which I thought was, wow, see, there really is good in the world. And then somewhere I've got, where'd this go? I've got another, hang on, used to be, oh, where did it go? Somewhere, maybe I didn't bring it in tonight. But there was I know, I was saving it for tomorrow. I did not bring it in tonight. I've got a story about the demise of abject poverty, not just in the United States, but in the world at large. And I've got a story, we'll do these tomorrow. I've got another story about how in the United States, the reason so many people are coming here is because being poor in the United States is the equivalent of being wealthy in some of these S-hole countries that they're coming from. I don't mean to minimize the poor in this country, but the poor in this country generally have a somewhat decent shelter to live in. They have housing of some sort. They probably have flat screen TV. They more likely than not have internet access. They're generally able to feed themselves, and if they're not able to feed themselves or get enough caloric intake, we as taxpayers provide them with supplemental nutrition. They generally have transportation. And I'm not talking about access to public transportation. I'm talking about it might not be a 2019 vehicle, but they've got a relatively dependable car to get them to and from work. The poor in this country have it better than some of the, I don't want to say wealthy, but what I would consider to be lower middle class in other countries. We have incredible potential in this country. I don't think the republic is dead. I think it's sometimes on life support. I think we're in and out of a coma sometimes. I think Nurse Ratched sometimes needs to give us a little injection here or there. I think we need some antibiotics because we got some sort of disease that we can't seem to shake off that keeps coming around all the time. And the disease seems to be spreading. And the disease that seems to be spreading is nothing short of socialism. You know who Bernie Marcus is? One of the founders of Home Depot.
And they squandered through it all on a government that assured cradle-to-grave assurances that began with Hugo Chavez and ended with this bedlam that we have now.
Well, what a great example for the American people to look at what's happening in America today. You know, Cuba is the perfect example of socialism gone wrong. They exported it to Argentina. They took a great country, they put it right down the drain in every way possible. People are starving to death. Medical is not available for them. And we have a group of people in Washington today, new representatives especially, that look at socialism as the way to go. And if you don't think that's dangerous, Neil, I do. I think it's a very, very
severe danger. So you're talking about people like Congresswoman Cortez, who's talking about a top rate of 70%, and others who've been advocating that the super rich pay a percentage of their wealth to the government. Elizabeth Warren is leading that charge. But it does seem to be a common theme among prominent Democrats. That worries you.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, it comes right out of the universities. You see students graduating today, and a very high percent of the students. And by the way, this is a fact. They did a survey of it. Almost 50% of students coming out of university today believe that socialism is the answer. That's frightening to me, because the things that made this country great, that created the wealth for this country, and I mean the wealth for every single person right down the line, the best medical care in the world, the best housing in the world. That's why people want to come here.
He's exactly right. But back it up a second. Don't gloss over this detail.
Almost 50% of students coming out of university today believe that socialism is the answer.
You want to take on a battle? There's the battle to take on. If you worry about the future of the republic, you better figure out a way to counter that. Because if you don't counter that, that destroys the republic. Oh, we can fight on the margins about gun control. We can fight on the margins about tax rates. We can fight on the margins about any number of political, social, or cultural issues. But when you have...
That's frightening to me. Almost 50% of students coming out of university today believe that socialism is the answer.
If you've got a kid in school, you better have a heart-to-heart talk about what they're being taught. You better have a heart-to-heart talk about what they're learning. You better have a heart-to-heart talk about what they believe. You may have done everything you can to raise those rugrats right. And you may have done everything you possibly can to instill the kind of free market, individual liberty values that you have in those rugrats. But once they go off to university, once they go off to college, they very easily could become one of these.
Almost 50% of students coming out of university today believe that socialism is the answer. That's frightening to me, because the things that made this country great, that created the wealth for this country, and I mean the wealth for every single person right down the line, the best medical care in the world, the best housing in the world. That's why people want to come here, is because of the system, and that's the free enterprise system. And you have the universities teaching these people socialism. You have Bernie Sanders out there. You have Elizabeth Warren. You think that there's danger over the hills. I wonder if the American people, and I'm talking about all the people that don't watch Fox and don't read the Wall Street Journal, but read the New York Times and every other newspaper around the country, watch NBC and CBS. I don't think they're getting this message at all, and I don't think they understand what how the brink of where we're standing today.
Well,
on the brink of a disaster.
Back and say they're.
But Angie, I'm so tempted to for that very reason. You know, Marcus is right to recognize higher education is a key player in this great battle that we are engaged in. Left-wing concepts of social justice have quickly moved from the halls of academia right straight to the nation's capital. Democrats in Congress increasingly sound no different than a campus activist. John Street at Campus Reform provides some details. Home Depot billionaire co-founder Bernie Marcus said Friday that the growing appeal to socialism in America comes straight out of the universities. Now, I've covered a lot of higher education stories over the years which involve socialism on campus, but interest in socialism among students continues to grow with organizations like Young Democratic Socialists of America. You've heard me talk about the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America. What about the Young Democratic Socialists of America? They've been emboldened by the popularity of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They've been emboldened by the likes of Bernie Sanders, which, by the way, there was a video that was discovered recently, leaked out, or at least published today, of Bernie half-naked partying like there was no tomorrow back in the old Soviet Union. Might call himself a socialist, but they actually believe in communism. There's a 2017 piece by Vice News that kind of explains the appeal. It's titled, "Socialism is Surging on College Campuses. Seizing the means of production is so hot right now. Long relegated to the fringes of American politics, socialism is surging on college campuses in the aftermath of the presidential campaign of Bernie Sanders, a self-described democratic socialist, and Donald Trump's victory. The Young Democratic Socialists of America went from 12 chapters at the end of 2016 to 47 just this past summer, and at least 100 are expected by the end of this semester, meaning this last December. 329 colleges registered for materials just past August. You better find out whether or not there's one, if your kid's going to one of these colleges where they're opening one of these chapters. By losing an election to Donald Trump, the Democrats demonstrated that they aren't the answer. 20-year-old Michelle Fisher, the national co-chair of the Young Democratic Socialists of America and a junior at Wesleyan University, told Vice News. But it's not just because of Trump. Fisher's disaffection with the Democratic Party has been brewing for some time. I think when Obama was president, I thought he was fine because I didn't know any better. He inherited a lot, but he did a lot to continue the U.S. imperial politics and deported more people than any other president. Now think about that. If somebody views Obama in this way, is it any wonder that they think even a moderate Republican is the extreme right? We might be in deep doo-doo. If we lose the youth, we lose the country. And right now, when you think about 12 chapters of the Young Democratic Socialists of America at the end of 2016 to 47 this past June, and at least 100 were expected by the end of the last semester. 329 colleges registered for materials. Is your kid going to one of the colleges that requested materials from the Young Democratic Socialists of America? If you don't know, or you don't find out, shame on you.
That's pretty much all I got.
Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building.
It won't be long before the hits
Hit to right field. Hit well to left.
are back.
Hit again to left field. Base hit into center field.
Rocky Spring